can't let go. You're just a dream, I can't let go. Dancing through shadows, lost in the night, searching for you in the fading lights. We had a fire, but now it's ash, holding on tight to a love that passed. I still feel you here, oh, and every beat so close. Holding on, but I know, oh, you're just a dream, I can't let go. You're just a dream, I can't let go. In the quiet you fade, but never really gone. In every beat, you're the rhythm, the song. A shadow lingering, a fire gone cold. Yet in this melody I still hold. You're just a dream, I can't let go. In the quiet, you fade, but never really gone. In every beat, you're the rhythm, the song. A shadow lingering, a fire grown cold. Yet in this melody, I still hold. Let go, let go, let go. Under the lights, but I'm feeling alone. Lost in the crowd, yet your ghost calls me home. Echoes of laughter, memories stay, but in my heart the colors fade away. I still feel you here, oh, and every beat so close. Holding on, but I know, oh, you're just a dream, I can't let go. You're just a dream, I can't let go. Dancing through shadows, lost in the night, searching for you in the fading lights. We had a fire, but now it's ash, holding on tight to a love that passed. I still feel you here, oh, and every beat so close. Holding on, but I know, oh, you're just a dream, I can't let go.
Hello everyone and welcome to the VRC ProtoH series once again for event 2 at Road Atlanta. It's going to be a really good event with a very tricky and technical track, especially that first sector. And I am joined here today once again by Josh Richards. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Really looking forward to the action we're going to get here. Last time out, we had plenty of exciting action, lots of overtaking as well. So it should be a really exciting race here tonight.
Yeah, for sure. And, there's been a few slight rule changes as well, I must admit, because it wasn't fully the intention to have a race without pit stops, although I do admire the strategy still, and so did the race organisers. However, a new rule has been put into place, let's say, with drivers having to do now a mandatory pit stop between minute 30 and minute 45 of the race, so that everybody is at an equal playing field. There's technical reasons, may go into those during qualifying. It's quite a simple thing, but that way it ensures that every driver has to make a pit stop, and so the race gets even more technical. For those also who want to maybe join in on the action, if there are any spots for the later races, so race 3 and race 4, there is links in the description to all of the cars and tracks, and indeed the social medias as well, with notably 50% off the Mexico track, which will be raced at a later date in the calendar. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how the drivers fare today. But if you want to see how you can fare against the drivers, you know where to look, right in the description. We've got apparently 1 minute left of practice, so I'm going to go ahead first of all and rejoin the lobby, because that's something that I should do. Qualifying, always very difficult. And I repeat once again that although some drivers have done very well, like Buller, Di Giovanni, obviously the winner of the previous race, it's a very different track, isn't it, Road Atlanta, compared to Spa?
Yeah, I mean, it's an entirely different dynamic, really. You've got a very big mix of slow speed, high speed corners. At Spa, it's a very long track as well, so a shorter number of laps, whereas around here, we're doing low 1 minute lap times. 1 minute 7s, I think, was the fastest time we've been seeing, really. So you're going to be seeing a lot more laps, a lot more chances going through the corners, but also a lot more chances to make the big mistakes as well.
Yeah, for sure. And why don't we also have a look at the standings, if you want to go through them, Josh. But Di Giovanni, obviously, huge points on offer for the first place man. But must admit, the points are quite consistent there on after. So as long as you get good results all the way through, there's a very good chance of just being able to, make sure you're always in that podium position, and hopefully one of your rivals has a mistake. Di Giovanni got very, very lucky on that first race, making that mistake, but being able to save enough fuel to coast to the finish line, quite literally, with basically 4 litres of fuel left to spare, if I remember correctly. But it's not going to be the same today, but a lot of great names on that leaderboard, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's going to be really interesting to see how Di Giovanni does this week, now that he won't be able to try that 0 stop and make it to the end of the race without the pit stop, which definitely saved him a lot of time, just about hang on to the win last time out over Buller. So that's going to be an interesting one to see how the pace lies this time around, whether Di Giovanni can fight for the win once again. He picked up pole as well last time out, so whether that can carry over as well. Andres Saragni in 3rd as well, decent haul of points for him. Jans in 4th as well. Then we got Urbanowski in 5th, Belazug, Molman, Marquez, Brodhan and Chapman rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, apologies for the Assetto Corsa noises in the background. That always happens when the lobby restarts. So we are underway with qualifying, and we'll just get into that in a second. Is there any name, just as a last minute, Josh, as they're doing their warm-up laps, they're just getting out to the pit lane now, so we've got a tiny bit of time left. Do you think there's anybody that maybe underperformed last time that you think we're going to see at the top?
Well, I'm not sure if he's racing tonight, but Mirko Hole, he qualified 3rd on the grid and retired at the end of lap 7. So it was a really unfortunate race for him. If he is racing tonight, I think he's definitely going to be one of the ones to watch, who's going to be looking to try and get himself further up the order.
Very good choice. I'd say I have to concur with that as well. So why don't we see if we can get into the game? And there we go. We will get there eventually to the resume button. The game doing some very interesting things here. There we go. Resume. And we've got auto start feature, as they say, as we are on board now with drivers during their qualifying laps. And the sounds of the cars are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely love the sound of these cars as they make their way through. Great job done by the VRC team here. And Kraus making his way through. I don't believe he raced last time out, so going to be interesting to see where his pace lies as well. He seems to be one of the faster drivers, so whether he can fight to the front, that is going to be a very interesting thing to find out through turn number 1 now, getting the lap underway, I believe, or are we at the start of the lap? I honestly have no clue. I think we are making our way through the first sector. Yes.
Let's call them all the S's. All of the S's.
Yeah, it'll take a bit of time to get used to the track, but up the hill now through the S's and making our way down towards the back end of the circuit. You're running a bit wide there over the curbs, but looking like a decent start to the session so far. Although I think this might actually be an outlap, just looking down in the bottom right-hand corner.
This, I think, is their first timed lap, so everybody setting a lap on the board is them just crossing the start-finish line at the moment. So they are just having their laps basically from when they started in the pit lane. So if they took a bit longer to get out of the pits, their time will be a bit more. So the first person across the line was Jansch, and we should probably go on board with them to see them across the line. Although it looks like they've just crossed the line at 1:08, I think our first representative lap time.
And a decent start to the session as well. I mean, it's pretty competitive already there at the time by Jans, but we're probably going to be seeing the time stumbling maybe down into the 1:07s. Can somebody try and sneak into the 1:06s as well?
Yeah, want to ask everybody watching, who do you think your sort of favourite driver for pole is? We saw a sort of a two-way battle between Buller and Di Giovanni, for the pole last time out in Spa. From practice, it was looking like Di Giovanni was very, very fast as well. So it will be very, very interesting to see if they can have that same amount of pace. It looked as if the cars were a little bit skittish sometimes on the track. A lot of bumps on the circuit, especially in Sector 1 and indeed in Sector 3. So it's very easy to lose it and to either pick up damage or just lose time, whether it's in the race or in quali. And traffic is a very, very big problem around such a short lap. It's nearly half the lap distance and time as it was in Spa.
Yeah, well, Di Giovanni making his way through the final 2 corners, now up to the start-finish line. Where does he go? Second fastest, 1:08.649, just about half a tenth of a second off of our provisional pole sitter, but still a long, long way to go here in this qualifying session. Plenty of laps still yet to come, and plenty of drivers still yet to get proper times on the board as well.
Yeah, indeed, as we've got some more drivers coming in now. Eduardo setting a representative lap time, but not very fast. Warren in 4th place there as well, with a 1:09. So it's looking like the 1:09s are going to be around sort of the intermediate pace, maybe a low 1:07, I'm being told, is possible. But one thing to note as well, it takes tyres a lot of time to warm up in these sessions. Not all of the time are you going to get the pace out of the car, because when you go out of the pits there's no tyre warmers, so you have to do 2 or 3 laps, I've been told by the drivers that are much better than myself, that you have to just keep going around and keep getting the confidence, and then by lap 3 or 4 you can push for that qualifying pace. So we see Jans goes past once again for a 1:08.2, so the lap times are already coming down, but with 30 minutes of qualifying session you can afford to take your time to get warmed up and to just go for it, basically.
Yeah, Crouch just gone second fastest, 8.4 for him, a couple tenths still off of our leading driver. Warren across the line finds a couple tenths again at 1:09.0 for them. Yeah, looking pretty decent, and the times are tumbling as expected with the improvements coming to the tyres and to the track as well. We're going to be seeing a bit of track evolution as the session goes on, as the track gets more and more rubbered in through the S's. The rear end sliding there, unfortunately for Andrade, and that has put him off into the gravel on the exit there.
Yeah, that's so easy to do. I mean, we saw a lock-up literally into, I think it was turn 3 on that lap already, so very, very difficult on the brakes. No changes of setup are possible, so you've just got to go with whatever you have on the car by default. I've been told, you know, obviously that they've done a lot of work to try and make the setup as balanced as possible, but those mistakes there are very indicative of, you know, how difficult it is to drive this track. Talking about people that didn't have necessarily a good debut on these events. You had the Chapman brothers, or I guess they're brothers, I can only presume that, but both Chapmans in the wars for the entirety of that race, weren't they?
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. They finished 10th and 14th though, so not the worst of results, all things considered. But yeah, in fact, I think they actually both gained positions from their grid positions. But yeah, probably could have been a better result for them if they had fully kept everything clean from their end. So they're going to be looking to try and improve on that one. Maybe improve on a bit of quali pace and race pace as well throughout this one too.
Yeah, hopefully so, but you can never be sure because, you know, it's so difficult to adapt. And what I've been noticing as well is that certain cars have been going off in different places. The Peugeot struggles so much in the last sector, whereas I'm seeing the Franzo, for example, here, the Franzo of Chapman, struggling in that first sector. So it's really interesting to see the different setups of the cars, the different places where you can gain more time. Let's see if we can find somebody who's on a flying lap. A lot of people that looks like a relatively good flying lap here by Di Giovanni, so back on board with Di Giovanni. We always seem to find him in qualifying, don't we? I'm trying to find somebody on the lap, and here he is to save the day.
Yeah, it looks like he's a couple tenths up on his previous attempt, so let's see what he can do as he makes his way down towards the chicane of turns number 10. Let's see if he can put a good lap together. Got to make sure you spot your braking, get the car rotated through, get onto the power through the exit, and now you're driving it flat all the way up towards the start-finish line, I believe, making your way through the final few corners. Get it rotated on the power and up and across the line for Giovanni. Where does he go? 8.3 stays the fastest.
Yeah, I mean, Kraus up to P1 there, I've just noticed. As for some reason I can't click his name on the other menu. There we go, in the other cadenza. So very good time there. And yeah, looks like the cadenzas are going strong around this track, as you'll see the drivers go for lap after lap here, to be honest, just trying to warm up the tires, the brakes, get themselves in the right operating window, and also gaining confidence, because as you can see, no runoff areas, a lot of grass, and so if you do get it wrong, especially in the last turn and into turn 1 as well, those are the really tricky zones. It can just be a race-ending event that you can't avoid. A little bit of a gravel track there, maybe turn 10 here, turn 10A and turn 10B. I'm not sure about the naming scheme. I didn't create that one. It's the track layout according to the official map. Very open corner, but very difficult to navigate because you're going downhill into the braking zone. So, you know, you've got to have utmost confidence to get it right.
Yeah, it is an interesting one, having two corners, effectively turn number 10. But nonetheless, we continue on through the session, and that is a big chunk of curb taken there by the cadenza, sitting on provisional pole position. Just about gets away with it, though, and he can continue on his way, making his way up the hill through the S's.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, they've really got to just look at their tire temperatures. Look at, I've been told at least that the tire temperatures are very difficult here. Flashing lights here, get out of the way. You do not want to hold up somebody that's a Peugeot. See if I can find them. It's sometimes difficult in the menus. I think they've backed out of it, but they're not very happy. And I think that could have been... we're missing Buller, actually. I've just realised Buller has not set a representative lap time. I think that might have been Buller that got held up behind. They've definitely got the same livery, but a little bit too far back. No, it's a different car, definitely. But yeah, Buller at the moment struggling a little bit, so maybe a bit late into the session, or maybe just taking their time to have a look at everybody else's racing lines. Who knows, as they say.
I think it might have been P21 Lewis Bicas who got held up there behind him. Not entirely sure, but we can continue on. And it does look like a pretty similar livery as well. Yeah, Yash has also just gone fastest, 8.032, half a tenth further ahead of Kraus, so he's still continuing to find some time up at the front of the field. But unlike it was last time out in Spa, we've got a bit more of a split here. Sorry, we've got less of a split between the cars. I mean, top three, all cadenzas. You've got ProtoH in 5th as well in the cadenza. Peugeot of Buller, the only one in that top 5 in that Peugeot, the only different car. We've got a big spin there from Bicas as he makes his way through the exit of the corner. Unfortunately for him, looks like he's come off pretty all right though from the exit of that one.
Yeah, I mean, what a bizarre incident. I was laughing just at the absurdity of that. Just got it a little bit on the curb, and a nice pirouette, the good save, and I thought they were going to save it. I'd already exclaimed before they hit the wall, and yeah, unfortunately they didn't keep it out of the wall, but looks like they can continue unscathed, and maybe a bit of tyre overheating, so yeah, they're going to have to pay attention to it, see what they can figure out, maybe regain confidence. You know, around this track you've got to have utmost confidence to set the fastest lap, so yeah, not going well so far, but look at the times. Just want to point that out. The times are oh so close around such a short circuit, and so if you can gain 2 or 3 tenths, you're gaining at least 3 or 4 places.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the fight at the front. I mean, the top two, half a tenth separating them. Di Giovanni's about... Oh, another big spin there again for the Peugeot, making his way, I think, up the S's there. Yes, a turn number 5 that was. And unfortunately, another mistake for him. His tyres are going to be screaming out, trying to get some temperature taken out of them. I think there was another car stopped there as well. Looks like somebody else having a separate incident as well.
I think that was Urbanov that went off. I briefly saw their name just dash into the pits there, so possibly some problems as we got some flashing lights from Bühler here on board with Bühler trying to up the pace a little bit. 5 tenths off the pace at the moment, so not showing that brilliance that he showed for the moment in Spa. There's a long time left in the session, 17 minutes left, so I won't get ahead of myself too much for the moment, but you know, confidence is key, as I've said, and that Peugeot is looking like a bit of a tricky beast to drive today, isn't it? We've seen multiple mishaps from both cars that we've seen of the Peugeot, and it's looking like a little bit squirrely on entry and on exit of the corners. Oh, and
yeah, I think that was
off as well.
Yeah, I think that's something we saw in Spa as well, to be honest. It seemed that Bühler was able to tame the beast, but again, another mistake for Lewis, unfortunately, down at the final corner there. But in Spa, we were seeing, it felt like that car was very much on a knife edge. He had a couple mistakes, I think 1 or 2 throughout the race. He seemed to be able to control it quite well, but other drivers maybe not getting on so well with it. And it seems, especially a high-speed track like this, with so many corners, where you've got to really send the car through, try and carry the speed to try and actually find that lap time. It seems that the weaknesses of the car might be starting to show.
Yeah, it's interesting actually, because I have access to the mini sectors here, and it's looking like a lot of people are not improving at the moment. They're sort of stuck in limbo. Maybe they need to pit for a fresh set of tyres. Maybe the tyres are overheating. He goes for another spin. That's spin number 4 for Bukas, and I think that we're going to see him off into the pits at some point, because I think those tyres are well and truly cooked. But we are going to try and not jinx him too much, as we'll go on board with Urbanov. Now, Urbanov had quite a bit of a interesting race, let's call it, with quite a bit of contact, a little bit of mishaps, but they had a lot of pace as well, so I wonder whether they can, you know, make good of their pace this time without getting into the wars a lot, because one thing that's different with Spa is that overtaking opportunities around this track are very, very difficult. Basically, turn 10 being one of the only overtaking places. So, you know, if you can get a good qualifying, it can actually help your race a lot. We have the pit stop, obviously, where, you know, you'll have to give up track position at some point to get a fresh set of tyres and more fuel in the car. But, you know, it's going to be interesting for the drivers that may be better on pace than on race pace consistency, whether they can fend off some of the more ardent, you know, race pace setters like Bühler that we saw in Spa.
Yeah, well, as it stands, Owenowski in P7, that was where he qualified last time out as well, so he seems to be pretty consistent out there, and whether he can hold on to that till the end of the session, maybe gain a couple of positions as well. He's only about a tenth of a second off of P6, about 2 tenths off of P5, 4 tenths off of P4 as well, so if he does find a couple tenths here or there, although I don't think he'll be finding too much on this lap with the traffic he's facing, making his way through the S's, if he can find that bit of extra pace, he could be on for a pretty decent race once again.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's all going to come down to, again, just getting those tyres in the optimal temperature and keeping them there. Because if you notice with the track, there's not a lot of tyre warm-up going on. The drivers are going out, doing a couple of laps, and then are desperately trying to keep it on. Oh, that was an interesting one. What the heck went on there? I think that was not Bukas. That might have been Bühler. Yeah, Bühler having to take avoiding action there from one of, I think the Frenzos there. I'll try and find who it was. It might have been Urbanovsky. So Urbanovsky and Bühler getting into wars there on the qualifying lap. I think they were both on warm-up laps, but that's an interesting one. You never want to collide with your rivals in quality.
Yeah, interesting one. I'm not actually sure who it was. I'm trying to have a look to see. I saw the contact pop up for just a brief moment, but it very quickly disappeared. So I'm not too sure who it was there. But yeah, contact is not what you want to be seeing, especially on your quali laps. I think it might have been Luca Werner, but not too sure about that one. But anyway, we continue on. Urbanovsky's still pushing on. Can he find some time? Are his tyres up to temperature? It's quite interesting that the drivers are struggling for temperature. We've got a 35-degree track temperature, 25 degrees air temperature. Here, they're going very wide there for Urbanovsky, off into the grass. Going to have to make sure it doesn't rejoin into the path of the oncoming cars. But yeah, losing a position as well. He's now down into P8. Lost another position, I think, to Malman, who's jumped up the order.
It is, I just want to comment how crazy it is, the sound of that cadenza. The V8 is just glorious, isn't it? And listening to, obviously, what was said the last time out, we've cranked up the volume on the cars to make sure that you have all of the glorious audio experience from what is possibly the best sounding experience that you can have in Assetto Corsa. This is quite wonderful, and I must admit, I may or may not have sat in the practice session for a couple of nights in a row just listening to people do practice laps and just basking in the gloriousness of the tunes coming from the back of these cars, let's put it that way. And on board it sounds even better. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, if every car sounded like this, what a beautiful world we would live in. Kraus making his way through the top end of the circuit, and another driver making a mistake down there at turn 7, locking up the tyres, couldn't get the car rotated in, and he's gone off and cost him his lap as well.
Yeah, incredible stuff. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, but I think, yeah, as you said, just locked up the tyres. Maybe the tyres getting a little bit overheated, so I want to probably go back into the pits, as we've got Giovanni possibly going a little bit faster as well. So it looks like actually they're not taking the racing line here, so maybe just taking avoidance. But yeah, it's always the difficulty, isn't it? Do you keep pushing? Do you try and, cool off the tyres? It's the strategy around a track like this. It looks like we're going to have two contenders racing. Oh, nearly. I think that's Lasser. Yeah, Lasser getting caught up, colliding. Incredible stuff. But you don't want to be doing that necessarily on what is your first quali lap of the session. It looks like they've parked it on the apron. Can they get going?
Beached.
I think they might be beached. Let's go. Well, this is an interesting one.
Yeah, well, they've managed to get going once again. They were another driver. I think the reason why Di Giovanni has to take a bit of avoiding action, they had gone off down at turn 7, went wide off onto the grass, and then, just lost the car there, and they have managed to get back going once again. But that is not going to be doing any good for their tyres at all.
No, it's not going to be doing any good at all. And with 10 minutes left in the session, you really want to get a banker lap on the board here because, there's still quite a few drivers that are struggling. Everybody, basically from Werner, 24th place and downwards, they haven't managed to get a representative lap time on the board, in my opinion. Oh, so snappy there. I thought they were going to lose it through the S's, but Lasser just keeping it on the tarmac stuff, and quite a worn tarmac, like an abrasive surface this is actually, so quite a high grip, but the bounciness of it and the just deform. Oh wow, okay, way off, absolutely missing the braking zone. I think there's a lot of people trying to carry speed into that turn 7 just to be able to get the best exit possible, as we have Franza parked and returning to the pits as well, so everybody returning maybe for their last set of tyres that they can get on and warm up at the end of the session. But yeah, definitely Lasser struggling. If I remember correctly, they had decent pace in Spa, so maybe just the track not suiting them for the moment.
Well, they qualified 19th in Spa, but they were the driver who made up the most positions in the race, 19th all the way to 12th, up 7 positions. So maybe it's just a quali pace issue. Maybe they struggle a bit more to extract that 101% out of the car in the qualifying lap. But then when you get into the race, when you're talking about consistency, it's another mistake there, another spin off into the barriers for the driver who currently sits last on the timing tower. Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, it's going to be that once we do get towards the race, they can do a lot better.
Yeah, no lap time set at all at the moment. So let's do a rundown with 9 minutes to the left. You got Bühler in first place. You got Jansch in second. Kraus rounds out the top 3-4 at the moment. Di Giovanni in fourth place, not showing the ultimate pace that he did in qualifying in Spa. Rodan in fifth, with Muelman in sixth. Serrani in seventh. Urbanovsky down in P8, quite a bit lower than I expected for the moment, but we'll have to wait and see. A lot of time left. Warren in ninth, so setting a good lap time now. And I'm not exactly sure what just happened there, as we had some sort of, I think, soundboard played by somebody coming into the channel. That's an interesting one. Meesberg in P10, Gebhardt's P11, Marino P12, Mirande P13. Bender, that's an interesting name, in P14. I think it's Lucas. I'll try and get their name for you on the boards now. Luke Bender, there we go, new driver to the series as well. Mazarakis in P15. Oh, that's not how you want to do the quali as well. Over the blind crest there and straight into the back of, I think that was Eduardo, P17.
Yes.
So absolutely devastating for them. Let me try and carry on through the chaos. Baylor in P18, Bennett P19, Krau P20, Werner P21, still not improved. Sigurlakis, sorry for butchering the name, P22, Andrade P23, Chapman P24, and Lasser has finally got a time on the board, but not very good at the moment.
Going to be looking to find some more time. They did return to the pits a couple of minutes ago. I'm just looking. I think they are out on the track now. So hopefully, yes, they are. They're going through turn number 6 now. Hopefully they can get a bit more consistency and get a lap together. Just keeping an eye. I think they are just preparing at this current moment, but they have successfully made it through turn number 7 without running wide.
I'm just thinking about all of the implications of if you're a crash-happy driver, the one name that you don't want to have could possibly be Luke Bender, because if you're a fender bender, then everybody is going to talk about it. So I hope for Luke they're not going to have that reputation, but I've put it out there. If I've jinxed them, I am very, very sorry, but there you go. Very good name, though, if you are a very good driver, because it means that everybody can take the mickey out of you, but you can show them in the race, so I'm hoping that's the case for them, that's for sure, as Bühler continues to set the pace as the only person into the 1 minute 7s at the moment in qualifying. Impressive stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, but also the two drivers behind him, about a tenth of a second behind him. In fact, Jan's less than that even. It's probably close to half a tenth of a second. It's not going to take too much for them to find the time, and I think some of them may even be on push laps now looking to try and find that time to get themselves up there in contention for the pole position as well. Jans, I think, could be finding a bit of pace. Buller making his way down into the chicane of 10A and B. I think getting himself ready for a lap in just a few moments, so let's see how he can get on as well.
Lots of drivers to choose from. If I can maybe get on board with the 53 Ferrari, was it 53 or 52 Ferrari? Numbers, there we go, Krau as well, so we can follow both of them on their laps. Bühler might be a little bit annoyed here that they might be held up in this lap, so might be backing off. I think I did see a little bit of a lift through there. So yeah, Krau, one of our drivers, as we've got Belazug rejoining, I think, from the last race in Spa. I recognise that name most definitely. So yeah, we've got a lot of traffic at the moment on these laps with 5 minutes of the session remaining. It's crunch time for qualifying. And oh, that's not what you want. You need to get out of the way if you're not on push lap. Oh, yeah, Krau has backed out of it, and so has Bühler. Devastating stuff for both drivers who were on push laps.
Yep, well, they can use this time. They're coming in towards the end of the lap. They can find themselves a bit more clean air and try and go for another attempt. The tyres should be up to temperature and ready for the push lap. Hopefully not overheating just yet. Warren through the final few corners. Is he coming to the end of a lap across the line? Doesn't seem so. Looks like he's starting his lap now.
Yeah, indeed. Let's see if they can improve You know, it's so difficult if you've had a few bad laps, if you've had... Oh, that was a huge snap of oversteer there, just over the crest. You know, it's so difficult. Once you start overheating the tyres, once you lose the confidence in the car, especially over such a bumpy first sector, it can, you know, ebb away the pace. And sometimes you just get stuck in a rut, basically, where you just cannot improve the time. You can't improve the pace and the feeling, and I think they've locked up and gone a little bit wide on that apex, so no good there. They'll lose time all the way down the straight at the moment. Let me see if I can take a look at the timing board, which has vanished somewhere. I've got to go and find the timing board. I was here a few minutes ago, but I want to see if anybody's improving, because at the moment, from what I can see, as that's not how you want to take the last sector there for Warren. But yeah, not many people improving, as I think they're getting out of the way of maybe Di Giovanni. Let's have a look. Was it Di Giovanni? No, probably Kraus. Still not Kraus either. So that was probably Prodhan, actually. Yes, it was Prodhan. I think improving to a 108.5.
Yeah, well, Kraus also improving. He's just jumped up to second on a 108.0. 108.000. Only sitting now 38 thousandths of a second off a provisional pole with 3 minutes left in the session. Is there enough time to get back out on the track, get the tyres warmed up to a state where you're ready for a push lap? It's going to take a bit of effort, but I think Kraus could still be in with a shot at the pole position here.
I think we might ride on board, shall we? Ride on board for the setup. We'll give him a minute to warm up his tyres. There's Bühler on a push lap. Let's see if we can go on board with Bühler here in these wonderful cameras. In fact, I love to see the wheel as well, and all of the little details in the cockpit, as you yourself could see all of these wonderful details on these cars, and indeed the sound and the pure adrenaline of driving them. If you head to the links in the description to get the cars yourself, and indeed get the Mexico track at half price at the moment. But yeah, massive credit once again to the development team for all of the efforts on these cars, as they are just splendid to watch and indeed splendid to drive. Although when I drove them, I ended up in a wall multiple times, so we won't talk any further about that.
Well, I don't think that's so much a car issue if we look at your rallying content. But nonetheless, here we go, making our way through the S's. Bühler on a push lap, I believe now, trying to find some pace to extend his margin up at the front of the field. Currently sits about nearly 400ths of a second further ahead of P2, but he's going to want to extend that margin, give himself a bit of breathing space here in these final few runs. Somebody just jumped up the timing tower. Who was that? I saw an improvement. I think it was Sorani, 108.690.
Looks like it.
Jumped up to 6.
Yeah, a lot of improvements coming, but I think for Urbanovsky it's over. At the moment, anybody in the pits is going to struggle to get out and set a time now. They need to be exiting pits now. Janč in the pits as well, so that is game over for them. Bühler probably got maybe, I'd say, another lap in them. You know, they're going to cross the line with enough time, obviously, to do another lap, but next time it will be checkered flag. Will it be an improvement? They're going to be... no, they've lifted on this lap, I think. They're not going to improve on this one. However, Janč has lifted as well. Di Giovanni, I think, is going fast. Let's see if we can pop on board. No, they're warming up their tyres. Kraus on a push lap, however. Can they do any better? Let's see, they'll have another attempt after this. No, still no improvement. Impressive, isn't it? Everybody's kind of reached the limit of pace.
Well, I think as well, they're just trying to get ready. This is not going to look great, though, for Kraus. He's got traffic in front of him, making his way through, just about managed to get out of the way in time. But that's a big snap, and that is Kraus going round, and that is going to be his chance. A provisional pole position and the start at the front of the grid. Gone. The drivers behind, though, don't seem to be able to challenge Prodhan coming through the final corner up towards the line. He'll get one more shot just about. Where does he go? Does he improve? Not just yet, but he does have enough time. He's just crossed the line with about 10 seconds left to spare. He will get one more shot. Bühler, though, making his way down the hill towards the chicane of 10A and B. Couple corners left to go into the lap. Can he try and extend his margin up at the front? Prodhan has returned to the pits, I believe, not going to continue on. So it looks like it is going to be the pole position for Bühler, but can he extend his margin up at the front through the final corner across the line? I don't think he's found an improvement. No, he hasn't. 2 seconds off the pace, but that's enough for pole position nonetheless.
I want to give credit here while I can. Chapman has just set a purple mini sector. It's not looking good on the rest of the lap, but for a brief moment through the S's, they were going fastest of all in the entire qualifying session. The lap hasn't manifested itself, but there is the pace there, and that can be key to a driver at any point here. As I love to see also the detail of traffic passing under the track as well. Not many details like that we see in games nowadays, but lovely stuff. As they say, Chapman across the line. Is it going to be an improvement? Sadly, no. That is bottom of the leaderboard for Chapman. What a disappointment. A few people still on laps. I think we've got Bennett on a lap still in overtime, as they must have come across the line really late, or indeed maybe they're not on a lap. The timing screen's not exactly making sense at the moment. It says simultaneously that the session is over, but it's not over.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I think we are pretty much done here. Bennett is coming down towards the chicane of 10A and B. I don't think he would have been able to get there.
I don't think so either. But they're pushing.
It's been a minute and a half since the checker flag flew. So yeah, I don't think he is on a lap right now. But nonetheless, we continue on. 2 more cars behind him as well out there on the track. So surely these guys are making their way back to the pit lane. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on them as we make our way through to come to the end of the session. And there we go, slowing down now.
Let's do a rundown, shall we? So Buller on pole with Kraus in second alongside Jansch in third. And Giovanni rounds out the top 4 on the grid there. The front 2 rows. Prodhan improved very well to P5. Surani P6. Urbanovsky P7. Wellman P8. Belasug improving all the way to P9. And I was not able to see the rest of the grid. Oh, there he goes. Come back for me. Good stuff. Warren P10, Misberg in P11, Miranda, Gebhardt, Merino, Mazarakis, Luke Bender in P16, so sadly not fulfilling my prediction actually at the moment, but maybe there's always a chance in the race. 17th for Bennett, Crow in 18th, Eduardo P19, Biokas, after all of those incidents, manages to get a relatively good time on the boards in P20, Baylor P21, Andrade P22, Werner 23, Lasser 24, Sigulakis P25, and sadly for Chapman, that is last place on the grid, P26. Although you could say is amusing myself, John Harris P27 on the grid, because I go straight back to the pit lane, as you can see.
Yeah, well, nonetheless, we get ready for racing. I think the only driver, at least that I can see for the time being, who's qualified in the same position in both races, was in fact Urbanovsky. Started 7th in Spa. He starts 7th here tonight as well. Can he try and replicate his drive last time out? Find a couple of positions. All will be coming very soon.
Yeah, indeed. And, what an amazing qualifying session that we had there. I think just the drivers demonstrating the consistency to just warm up the tires, to just get it in the zone. And although a few drivers had a little bit of trials and trepidations, they were able to at least get a few laps in, and that's what you've got to ask from the drivers, is that sometimes it doesn't always go your way, and even for people that made the mistakes, they were able to get back into it. And I think we're going straight into the race here, so I was going to show the standings, but if I can get, I'm going to have to exit out first. If I can get back to the game, I think we're already on the starting grid now. Just to remind you, there is a mandatory pit stop now. So no matter what you do, you can add however much fuel you want, but you have to pit between minute 30, so you can't pit 29 minutes and 59 seconds. You have to pit as the timer hits 30 minutes, and if you pit after the timer has hit the 45-minute mark, you will be disqualified if you haven't pitted. So any pit stops outside of that are not counted as the mandatory pit stop, and so drivers are going to have to be quite tactical about it. So drivers will be starting with less fuel as well as we get underway for the formation lap. So quite technical. You've got the instructions on screen for yourselves as spectators, so it's self-explanatory. A typical sort of Le Mans series start, enduro racing. Just want to take the opportunity once again to say, if you want to pick up the content, the links are in the description below the video. There's some wonderful stuff, some stuff on discount at the moment, including the packs of cars that you see right now on track, but also the circuit that is Mexico, the Grand Prix layout, which which is on offer now at 50% off, and we will be racing that later in the series.
Yep, and should be a very exciting one. Indeed, plenty of overtaking opportunities around the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, so going to be a very exciting one to watch next time out. A couple of crashes already we've had throughout this formation lap through some of the drivers further back down the order, but everybody seems to be getting on pretty alright, especially up at the front of the field, just trying to get some temperature into their tyres, hoping for a decent start here. That run down to turn 1 could be crucial. You've got to make sure you get a good jump. You don't want to be losing positions on these opening laps. The cars are so close together, and this is really a great opportunity to try and find an extra few positions in the race.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, you've got to be tactical about how you do this, because there's an opportunity always to gain positions, and it's going to be difficult to overtake. You've got to manage the battery, manage the tyres and all that. So if you can gain positions in this first lap, it can be so crucial, in contrary to a track like Spa, where you have to wait for the race to come to you. So we're going to see a different race start, I think, here, just owing to the fact that people need to basically get on with it at some point and go for it. So I want to hear from our live audience. If you have a favourite driver, one that you want to see do very well, please say so, as we're about to go racing here. They will go double file, as it's looking like quite a fast start here. They'll have to slow down a little bit, if I remember correctly. Here we go, double file, and there's a huge gap there in the top 10. There's a huge gap there. I think it's Belasug just leaving, no, it's Warren leaving a gap. There you go, red lights, come on, you've got to keep the speed, and as soon as they go green, as we've had a few cars with a bit of an incident behind, so not everybody starting cleanly, but Budo does get underway as Kraus fights with Jansch for P2, and it looks like Kraus has just taken P2 off of Jansch, so drama already ends, and they have to go single file, and we've got a lot of incidents behind with cars tagging. We've got Balazzo off track, we've got Chapman in the wars as well, as we've got a few cars also not starting very well. Lasser and Misberg just missing the start. I think they spun around on the last turn, so not brilliant, as we've got a side-by-side from Jansch and Kraus already. Will they go side-by-side the entire lap? No, it looks like Kraus has the inside. Oh no, he's been tagged around. Disaster for Kraus. Yet again, a condenser in the wars on lap 1, and that is disastrous as they're tumbling down the order. They're getting back on the way now, but P17, P18 dropping.
Yeah, not a great start for them. Couple of drivers up the front getting tagged as well on the exit of turn 1, running wide off into the grass, but it's an ideal start for our race leader, who thought he had the win signed, sealed and secured last time out. Got taken away with that final lap incident, but Buller already 3.3 seconds clear after the end of just the first lap. What an insane start to the race for him, as we make our way now running down towards turn number 1 with Moment. Is he going to look to the inside? Had a bit of a look, but not close enough for any sort of send just yet. Making the way up the hill, Giovanni applying the pressure, trying to find his way through up into second, but it's going to be a long, hard battle here with Jansch as they make their way now down the hill through the S as we go.
Yeah, Urbanovsky in the pits, I can only guess they picked up damage or something, but that's disastrous for them, that's for sure. We've got, big crash. I noticed many names. Andre was spun around. I think that's Werner that was spun around. Yep, Werner in the wars. I think that is... I'm trying to find, is it Eduardo? No, it's Crow has been spun around as well. There's quite a few drivers that are just swapping positions on the leaderboard as I try and get their names, but I think that was Bennett actually. Yeah, Bennett's in the wars. It was Bennett I was looking for. So multiple drivers caught up in that one. Disaster, as we've got moves up in the front as well, as Jansch tries to go for a move, has been passed, I think, by Di Giovanni. Yeah, Di Giovanni gets past Jansch, so Di Giovanni will look to have to try and hunt down, but the gap 4 seconds already, as we've got battles in the midfield as well. Baylor getting past Warren, so Warren dropping down as well, as Luke Bender is making his way up the grid. Go on, Luke Bender, come on, show them that you are not breaking any cars today. Oh, up the inside, wow, what a move by Warren, incredible stuff, very opportunistic.
And that gives a great chance of Bender as well, who goes through, but I think he's run wide off the track, rejoining into the path of other cars, gets the car stopped just about, but that has cost Luke Bender a couple of positions there, dropping him all the way down to P12 now. The gap up at the front, Giovanni has got through into second. The gap is now 3.7 seconds between Buller and Giovanni. Can Buller hold on to his lead and try and extend like he did last time out?
Sadly, our first retirement of the race. Urbanovsky. Oh, it's not going well in the race for Bukas either. He's just spun round, I think. So the problems with the handling of that car not helping at the moment either. He's got a battle and looking, sizing up a move once again on Jansch. Jansch is looking a little bit behind the pace at the moment, struggling to get that cadenza working. And it's looking like, I must say, the cadenzas have a lot of pace here, but Buller out in front. Let's give him a little bit of credit. Buller out in front here. He's just storming away with the race lead, as we saw at Spa. But we saw that the racing took a turn in the midsection of the race as Andrej has got past Sigilakis as well. So a battle change in the fight for P15. Sigilakis all the way over the grass there and getting away with it, but my days, that was close. I think that was Marino actually. Yeah, Marino, my apologies. Marino all over the grass there. But yeah, very, very tricky. Oh, huge lockup. You don't want to do that with the tyres because one of the problems with this track... Oh, there was a driver going off there. Who was that?
Not too sure, but a couple drivers still struggling out here with the mistakes. Not ideal for them. Battle for P3 starting to ramp up as well. We've got Prodhan and Molman right on the back of Jans. And here is the battle for P14 as well. Andrej continuing to try and defend quite a few cars, queuing up behind him now. And yeah, he's going to be looking to try and hold on to this position, trying to hang on for some points. This is the battle though for third place. Jansch almost pushing Prodhan through the corner there as they dive downhill towards the start-finish line to start the next lap of racing. Let's see if there's a chance at an overtake potentially. Molman pushing, almost having a look now to the inside in towards turn number 1. But again, just struggling to find the overtakes around this track. Now we make our way through turns 2 and 3 in towards the S as we go down the hill. Still getting right onto the back of the fellow cadenzas, but not close enough just yet. Down we go through the S's. Molman trying to find a way through, but not just finding the gap yet.
As you've seen through that sector 1, so tricky because of the undulations of the track. So bumpy, so many blind crests, you've got to pick your line. And what Wildman found out is if a driver breaks in front of you and you have to panic brake, you're offline. Jansch put on the anchors to get a better line through the S's, and Wildman had to take avoiding action, and that means that he's about 5 car lengths behind here and not able to set up a move for the moment. But yeah, the drivers settling into their pace as well. I think we've got Eduardo spinning, Eduardo's made a mistake. Positions have changed, so a lot of drivers struggling with that first sector at the moment, but we'll have to wait and see if anybody can make some moves, as what I was told as well, not only tyre temperatures but battery management is so difficult around this track. Because there's not so many huge braking zones, you're not having that regen that's normal and possible around this track. And so, around other tracks, I mean, sorry. And so that means that by the end of your stints and by the end of the race, you're actually running out of energy to deploy. And that is incredible to me because these batteries are so big on these prototype race cars that, you know, you'd expect to have unlimited power, and that just isn't the case. So drivers are going to have to fight intelligently, let's say, to conserve their battery but to use it when overtakes are necessary, as I think Molman is a lot closer here. Will they be going for an overtake? Let's have a look.
Well, it looks like a little bit too far back, but with a healthy slipstream as they make their way down towards the chicane of 10A and B, there could be a potential chance, especially with a mistake from Jans in front. If that does come, that could be the opportunity they need to try and find their way through. But looking like a pretty clean run from the car in front. The gap now sitting at 0.3 of a second just about as they run down the hill in towards the start-finish straight. Looks like it's a little bit too far back just now, but there could be a chance coming very soon if the pressure continues to be applied. P3 finisher last time out, Saranyi, currently runs in 7th place, looking to recover some positions, trying to find their way through. And a big spin there up in front. That's Jansch around, losing the car through the S's, and that is going to be a big costly mistake. Dropping now down to P9, could lose even more positions potentially, but from 4th position all the way down to 9th, that is disastrous.
Oh, wow. For starting P2 on the grids, can you believe it? Sometimes it doesn't go your way in the races, and that's what happens. And now they're going to have so many problems because the tyres have overheated. You've cooked the tyres, you've worn out the tyres as well, having to apply brakes. Oh, slamming the door there on Luke Bender, so nearly a fender bender in there. I do apologise, I'm going to make that joke multiple times probably throughout the course of this race. But yeah, just getting caught up in an incident that basically wasn't his, was Luke Bender there. And for Jansch, it's just a case of mentally resetting here and hoping that you can, make a difference. Want to give credit to one person here. Axel Lasser is actually making up a huge amount of positions at the moment, all the way up to P15, so credit to them. They're making a storm in this race. They are putting on all of the pressure and getting the moves done. The race pace consistency is there once again.
Yeah, something else to keep an eye on. I'm not sure if there's been some mistakes potentially. Buller's previous lap was about a second slower than Di Giovanni. The gap is now down from almost 4 seconds to 1.5 seconds. Di Giovanni is very much on a charge right now. His previous lap was faster than Buller's fastest lap ever around here. So he is trying to find some pace now and could very, very soon be in the fight for the race victory.
That gap coming down, isn't it? Now 1.5, it was 1.7, so it's looking very, very spicy and briefly dipping into the 1.4 as Buller will be under pressure. It's a reverse of what happened at Spa in the closing laps. Obviously, there's a lot of time left in the session, more than an hour, so they're not even close to the pit stops yet. And when that timer reaches 45 minutes remaining, they will be able to make their pit stop. I just want to remind everybody. And it's there's looking like there's a few incidents going on at the back of the pack. Yeah, huge crash here. We got Kraul, Meberg, Baylor, and Werner, Bennett, Sigolakis, all in the wars here. Incredible scenes, and they're just struggling to get going again. As Bjokas has gone off of his own accords there afterwards as well. We're going to go 4 wide. No, that's never a thing. The 83 Ferranza goes off into the barrier. That's probably going to be huge damage as well. Oh, just drivers losing their heads a little bit at the back of the field. I did not see what caused that, but I can only expect that maybe it was 2 cars trying to go into a one-line corner. But yeah, that's never what you want to see, and that battle will probably rage on as they condense back once again, as people like Sigolakis and Kraul are now out of position, with Baylor as well, way out of position.
Yeah, it's not been the greatest of starts for some of our drivers down the back end of the field. Quite a few instances, especially in that first sector. And Di Giovanni, really unfortunate there. Buller managed to get through very cleanly through all that traffic. And then he ended up going 3 wide with 2 other cars. Fortunately managed to avoid any incidents, but he lost himself about 7/10 of a second trying to navigate that traffic, almost a second in fact. And yeah, that has dropped him now to 2 seconds behind.
Yeah, and that's very little in terms of, the racing around here. If you're within 2 seconds, it looks like Buller is having to negotiate traffic here. Will he get left space? No, contact a little bit with, I think, that might be... Oh,
Protan.
Well, he's gone off, yeah. Let's see
if Protan there.
Was it Protan? No, it wasn't Protan.
Oh no, so he had his own contact somewhere else. He saw contact pop up at the same time, but yeah.
As well. Oh, dearing me. So lots of drivers in the wars, but for Buller, that means they're under pressure now, as I think it might have been Benesud, although I do not want to say drivers' names without, it might have been Bennett, actually. Let me have a look at where Bennett is on the track. Yes. No, it wasn't Bennett. Okay, I'll keep looking.
I have absolutely no clue who it was, but as a result of that traffic, Antonio Di Giovanni now 1 second off the back of Buller. He may have pulled the short straw the first time around, but the second time around is very much working in his favour, and he is closer than ever before, getting ready to try and pounce in the battle for the race lead. The next car behind, Molman, currently running up in 3rd place, much better than they did last time out in Spa, finishing in P7, currently on for a podium finish as it stands, but still plenty of time left to go. Well, in fact, 1 hour exactly left to go here at Road Atlanta. Still definitely time for things to change, and very much we could be seeing some change up at the front of the field in the next few moments. Looking at the track map, they've got 2 more cars, I think, of traffic just coming up in the next few moments, and then they've got a bit of clean air, and then they've got another car of traffic as well coming up in just a few moments. But they are very much catching the traffic a bit earlier than I think they may have been expecting. For 1 minute or so lap time, 15 minutes into the race, it's not ideal timing, and there's traffic there that they're having to navigate, and that is not helping them either, especially for Buller, who's now 4/10 to make that 3/10 ahead now. The gap is tumbling rapidly, the traffic is not going in their favour, and down towards turn 1 we go with a matter of car length separating the two.
Yeah, indeed. I can confirm that the collision was with Werner, that first collision with backmarker, and very, very unfortunate. Actually, that Peugeot has a lot of pace through this first sector. Look at that. Oh, a little bit twitchy, and there's a car off just going onto the grass as well, distracting a little bit of Ferranza there, it looks like. I think that might be Krau that's just ahead, but it could be Mifberg as well. I think it might be Mifberg going wide, yeah. Just looking at the driver names and numbers where they are on track now, it does make sense. As yeah, just compromise a little bit, gets out of the way though. Congratulations, you know, good for doing that. That's a sign of a good driver right there, aware of the situation. But yeah, for Di Giovanni in the slipstream, can they make anything happen here? It's going to be very, very tricky for them. They're not exactly within braking distance, although look how strong they are on the brakes. That's ridiculous. They broke at least 5 meters later, I'd say, than Bühler, but it looks like Bühler through the first sector and through these long flowing corners has the advantage. Look at the twitchiness of Di Giovanni through these corners. Lost about a car length through here, but on the brakes, oh, I say that and he's gone wide. He's touched the grass. No, not into the wall. He is into the wall. Disaster for Di Giovanni. It's ended like it has at Spa, and he's got to try and get back onto the racetrack. Mollman inherits second place, and that's I think Prodan moving up. No, Di Giovanni, that's the back marker, that's Mjellman. Di Giovanni retains third place then, but with Prodan just behind. But disaster once again for Di Giovanni. Just touching the grass on the outside of the corner. We said there was no area to recover once you get on the grass, and disappointment, but they have a lot of time in the race to recover now and get their acts together. They'll have a pit stop as well for fresh tyres, so it's game on now. They got to really put pedal to the metal.
It was quite a big head-on hit there with the barrier as well. I'm surprised there's not too much damage to the car, but he looks to be able to continue on in pretty decent form. So currently now Buller leads by 8.5 seconds. Hopefully things continue on going quite well for him with the traffic, not going to have too many issues. Soranyi looks to have had a bit of a collision somewhere as well, I think with one of our lapped runners. So yeah, the blue flag situation not looking too great. Quite a few drivers getting caught out, especially up at the front of the field, costing them time and potentially positions as well. But mistakes are very much here once again, and Giovanni, the ultimate victim as it stands, lost himself about 12 seconds as a result of that incident, and could be losing even more positions because Prodpan still sticking right onto the back of the fellow cadenza car.
It's a very difficult corner, that turn one. As you saw from the onboard, you can't really see the apex until you're there, and so it might have been a case he was just reacting to what Bühler was doing on the turn-in. Bühler went all the way to the grass but didn't touch the grass, crucially, and Di Giovanni was just a bit later on the brakes, and that meant that they were in that last meter of braking zone. They were on the grass. Once you put a wheel on the grass, really it's all over. Sorry, I took a bit of a pause in my talk there. I do apologise, Josh, but yeah, it's so difficult when once you're on the grass, there's not much you can do, is there?
Yeah, the grip just drops away. You can't turn the car anymore, and you're just a passenger. You're sent straight to the scene of the accident, and unfortunately costing yourself big time. Looks like Mollman's lost a couple seconds to our race leader on the previous lap. Not too sure. Maybe there was a bit of traffic there to contend with. But nonetheless, the gap's still continuing to increase, and as it stands, looks like Buller is quite comfortable up at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's looking like quite a few drivers having a few issues. Lasser as well has lost out. Oh, please tell me that's not Bucas. No, it isn't Bucas. Okay, right, we have to go on the hunt for a Peugeot that has spun. Who could that be? Hang on a minute.
Well, I think it was Buller.
It was Buller.
Buller had some contact. Had contact with the back marker, and now Mollman on the back. This could be crucial for the race. Another one of our leaders coming to blows here at Road Atlanta, and now once again the gap closes. Mollman half a second. He's now the car trying to put some pressure on. Di Giovanni is now only 4 seconds off the back of our lead battle as well.
Incredible scenes. I would not have expected it. We don't exactly know what happened, whether there was a big contact or whether it was just a mistake. So easy to make around this track, but that is not what they wanted, and now under pressure. Bühler must have just been counting his lucky stars a few laps ago that Di Giovanni had thrown himself off the track by himself, quite literally, and then something happens and he's right back where he was, under pressure by Mollman. Mollman must be thinking, I don't know where my luck has come from this race, but hey, the pace is good. I've been able to overtake drivers that have made mistakes by themselves, and now I'm sitting on a podium fighting for the lead. For them, this is exemplary driving, and for the moment, not a foot wrong at the moment. So this is getting very, very spicy as Di Giovanni and Prodan still side by side. I'm imagining there might be some damage, but I must admit, look at that gap. 4.2 seconds to Wellman. So the top three covered by just over 5 seconds, and Prodan just behind that as well. And if you look even back, P5 Miranda is just another 3 seconds off of that. So the whole field at the front has condensed now right back up, and it's as if we've had a safety car.
Yeah, I mean, the gaps in some places may be a bit bigger than you'd expect, but in others they are very, very close together. Moments lost a bit of time once again, but yet Buller losing, it was about 10 seconds compared to the previous pace he'd been setting. 119 was the lap where he spun. He's just done a 109.6, so it looks like he's found his confidence once again, only a couple tenths off his personal best lap time in the race.
He's gone wide again. He went wide in the S's there, just at the end of it. Oh, sorry, this is the entry to the S's. He went wide in turn 3, I think, locked up the brakes, and there, Wellman right on the back of Buller once again. So that Peugeot really, really handling like a bit of a dog at the moment, not wanting to obey the commands of the wheel, as they say. And yeah, that's very, very tricky, because the more mistakes you make, the more you overheat the tyres, the worse it becomes. And I'm very surprised, as I've just noticed, Prodan's got past Di Giovanni. So Di Giovanni in the wars a little bit as well, that we didn't see happen. And it looks like Di Giovanni is taking a different line through the turns here. I'm not exactly sure what has gone on, but yeah, under pressure, the drivers at the moment. I was told after about 20 minutes the tyres start overheating, and there's nothing you can do about it. We're reaching that window now, so it's the case of who can deal with it the best. Terrible disappointment, by the way, for Janč, who has seemingly retired from the session, from the front row to a retirement. That has to be bitter, hasn't it?
It's so unfortunate for him. Just the race really hasn't gone his way. Just speaking about tyre temperature as well, the track and air temperature have both gone up by a degree since qualifying. We're at 36 degrees track temperature, 26 degrees air temperature. So we are going to be seeing more and more and more degradation, more overheating of the tyres. It's really not exactly going to be playing in favour of the drivers here. And we've been seeing so many mistakes, and that's not too surprising given how much the tyres are going to be screaming out, just hoping that they can find a bit of cooling down time, I'd say, to try and get themselves back into a decent window.
Yeah, when you look at the times right now, it's just a wall of grey. As per the Assetto Corsa timing works I have on my screen, there are no fastest sectors whatsoever. Although I take that back. Serrani getting a fastest mini sector. I think that's in turn 7. So the brakes are still working. At least that's a bonus. But as for everything else, it's turning up the heat at Road Atlanta for the moment. I mean, it's just looking at the track, you can see why. It's just corner after corner, braking zone after those corners, and braking zone into a braking zone for some of them. So you've got no chance to cool the tyres down, no chance to recover if you make a mistake. And so anybody that has made a mistake and that has warmed up those tyres even more and got more tyre wear on it, you'll just be fighting a losing battle until that pit stop. And I tell you what, a few drivers will probably be saying that they are very, very glad to have had that pit stop, as I think that's a Ferranza stopped on track. I'm not exactly sure who it is. It's
Midgeplas, I think.
Misberg, yeah. I'm not exactly sure what went on there. Just stopped on the side of the track. Maybe having to do a reset like they have to do in the endurance races, and maybe the screen turning off or whatever. But hopefully, whatever it is, they've got that reset done and they can carry on going. They've lost quite a bit of time. They were stationary there for about 15 seconds, if not more. We came across them, they were already stationary, but I'm hoping that whatever that issue is, they can carry on driving.
Well, hopefully everything does get sorted. Di Giovanni back onto the back of Prodan as well, half a second off, just briefly tucked into about 0.4 of a second there, so it could be a chance to re-overtake his fellow cadenza driver in towards turn number 1. We've got another car just up in front as well. I think that might be a lapped car in front of them. That is Kraus, I think. Crow, yeah, up in front, and then Molman a couple seconds further up, though they have actually been catching P2 there, and I think even slowly but surely catching P1 as well. So the gaps are dropping, and I mean, to be honest, I think ProtoH still is very much in with a chance at the victory as they do get past the lap car. We have got 4 cars very, very close together in the grand scheme of things. I mean, we were seeing gaps of about 20 seconds last time out in Spa. The gaps are now 2 seconds here. So the cars very, very close together here up at the front of the field. And we could be in for a 4-car fight here for the victory tonight.
Oh, Sarani off the road. I think they might have been just losing it onto the grass there. So another Faranza in the wars, sadly. And they were doing so well, but they're still inside the top 10. But it kind of resembles what happened to them at Spa. A little bit of problems, and they got a little bit lucky toward the end of the race. Well, pace as well, let's put it out there, but they did get lucky building up positions and gaining positions through other drivers' mishaps. This time it's happened to them, so glad they've got basically more than half the race distance left to go, so they've got a chance to recover those positions, but they're going to have to put their foot down. As I want to note also that we are approaching pit window phase, so as the top 4 condense into one giant pack at the front, they're going to have to start thinking strategy. Now, what do you think they should do in this scenario? Do you think they should go for the undercut, get those fresh tyres on the car, and just try and build a gap, or would you want to have the best tyres at the end of the race to put the pressure on?
Well, I mean, they will have predetermined this because it will be defined by their fuel levels. They'll want to run the cars as light as they possibly can off the start, try and carry it all the way through to this pit stop, then refuel the car back up. But I guess, yeah, it's going to be a tough call here. I think having those better tyres at the end is going to be more crucial, because ultimately, if your rival does have an accident and then you don't have the tyres there to fight it at the end, you're not going to be in the greatest of positions. But if they have the accident and then you have the tyres to battle away with them, you're going to be in a much better position. Your rival's tyres will have dropped off more as well, so there's even more of a tyre advantage found later on in the stint. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic, I think, and seeing how these guys do fare. That's going to be really interesting, but as well, it's really going to come down to how they started the race with their fuel loads, and we're catching more and more traffic. Buller facing 2 cars here as they make their way into turn 7, I think, managing to get around the outside of them. He has got past all the lap cars, and in fact, I think it is just one, but Moment has caught up a bit. ProtoH catching as well through turn number 7. That's not going to be helping the P2 driver at all as they now power their way down towards the chicane of 10. Not looking too great. It is Chapman, I think, in front of them right now, who currently runs in P15.
Let's check that out. Yes, it is Chapman. So Chapman being a little bit the cork in the bottle for the moment, as we'll see if they get out of the way. That's contact between the two cadenzas. Di Giovanni around, just outbraking, I think, and just trying to get into a position to overtake, and just a bit too late on the brakes, and then got spun around. So devastating. The two quote-unquote teammates, obviously, they're all racing for themselves here, but the two cadenzas entering into contact, and he got right back up to the lead battle, and now has to do all of that work yet again. But the good news is it's only about 12 seconds off the lead. They're still in visual range just, so you've got that to work with. But it's looking like Di Giovanni's pace again is the fastest pace on the board there, as somebody keeps on I think joining and doing a sound bar in our chat, which is interesting. Good for them, I must say. It does take me by surprise, but there you go. As we've got ProtoH still on the back of Wellman, and it's looking like Wellman is actually the most consistent pace, in my opinion. Is look up there by ProtoH, but Sarani getting past, I think, Warren there as well. So Warren having a mistake, spinning around, not exactly what they wanted to do.
Yeah, but we're just over 30 seconds now to the pit window, so some of the drivers, if they can time it right, could be straight in. Just looking, who could that be potentially? I mean, there's quite a few drivers up at the top end of the field, so maybe we're going to see some pit stops being made relatively quickly. 20 seconds now till the drivers can pit in. But yeah, I think we're going to be seeing quite a few drivers running a bit longer, more towards that 45-minute end of the pit window, so 30 minutes left on the clock. But we could be seeing 1 or 2 drivers in just about now.
Yeah, indeed. We could see some drivers in the pits. as I am on surveillance duty as well for whoever is causing a bit of mishaps. I just want to remind the drivers, just in case they have maybe forgotten the rule, if you join the commentators chat, you will risk disqualification. Oh, that is Warren having to avoid, I think that is Werner who's dropped behind, so that was very, very lucky no, it's not Werner, it's I have no idea who that is. It's the other car.
It's Crow, I think.
Crow was going slow, however, so Crow's had a disaster in the first sector. So yeah, pit is open, as you can see at the top of the leaderboard right there. Oh, Crow going for another spin. Those tires have had it, haven't they? Is he parking it? Oh no, don't go back onto the racetrack. You don't want to do that. Whoa! To the Peugeot. That was the leaders. He nearly took out Bühler. Nearly took out the leaders. That would have been a disaster, but my days, that was good avoiding by Bühler. But that would have put a jump scare and a fright right there. Hopefully they can, avoid any contact with back markers, but ProtoH is on the back and is going to go surely for a move. This is setting up a move. They've got the overspeed. I think they're deploying the battery, and are they going to late braking? Oh no, I don't have a good feeling about this, but they're sensible about it. ProtoH goes a little bit deep. Wellman will try and get the switch back, but it looks like they've got it all under control for the moment. As will we see anybody pit? No, still nobody pits. I think they are going to just keep on going on that slight more fuel, as Di Giovanni actually has been overtaken by Miranda. So Di Giovanni has had a nightmare here. Well, we've been having a look at all the problems, and Di Giovanni is in the pits. I think those tyres have let go, and that is, for the moment, the end of that. Sigulakis, sadly, has been forced out of the race as well. So we're going to have to wait and see, if we get any explanation for that. Probably just too much damage on the car. But yeah, our first pit stop is happening now as Wellman looks to also fight back against ProtoH.
Well, it's going to be a close battle here. In fact, ProtoH's actually been gaining a couple tenths on this lap on the Peugeot in front, currently leading the race, the gap at 2.2 seconds. But maybe some more luck to come with the blue flags for our P2 and P3 drivers. That was very nearly a big moment. More cars coming into the pits as well. A couple more making their way down the pit lane now. And our lead driver's going to come in here. Doesn't look like it just yet. They will continue on their way. Look for that bit of an overcut compared to the cars around them. None of them going to pull the trigger first. And ProtoH now 1.9 seconds. He's found almost half a second on that previous lap. Just looking, it was, just about 3.5 tenths of a second he found. Compared to Bühler. And Di Giovanni left.
Di Giovanni is out of the race. The winner in Spa has decided to call it quits after possibly one too many mistakes. That is the end of that. Maybe too much damage on the car as well. And what has been a disastrous day for them, it must be said, has gone from bad to worse now, as they will be picking up 0 points from this race.
That is so unfortunate for our championship leader as it stands, but a great opportunity for Bühler now, if he can hold on up at the front of the field in that Peugeot, to try and take the championship lead. Of course, picked up, I think it was 40 points last time out, so would be on for 50 points to make it a total of 90. Nobody else can score as many as him after this race. So if he does pick up that victory, he will lead the championship no matter what, but it's not going to be all the straightforward, because ProtoH is now 1.4 seconds off the back of Bühler. He's gaining, and now 1.3 as they come across the line, and that time around it was 7 tenths of a second faster for ProtoH. It was a 10-0 for Bühler, 9.3 for ProtoH. He is flying along, another 2 tenths, another 3 tenths found. Those tyres seem to be doing much better on the condenser, and he is catching fast.
You can see the gap visually as he just pulls away from Wellman, who we're on board with. They're just taking such aggressive lines. Let's see if I can get on board with them and see exactly what they're doing. I think it's just another case of that cadenza being absolutely excellent on the brakes. And you can see visually just being able to brake a little bit later. And Bühler just under pressure now, as we've got another back marker, and hopefully they will get out of the way or not impede the front running pack here. Is just cruising away from Miranda in 4th place. It must be said that the gap a few laps ago was 8 seconds, now it's 16. So it's just become a three-way just sprint race at this point for the top three on the podium.
Yeah, well, here we go. Now the gap has increased a little bit through that chicane, helped by the back marker traffic, but it's dropped very quickly through the final corner. What is happening here to our race leader? He's just lost almost a second there, just down the straight. That is very surprising to see, but nonetheless, we continue on. Half a second, 4 tenths, 3 tenths. Look how close we're getting on the brakes in the cadenza, doing so much better in that braking phase. A moment as well, gaining on the back. Is Buller trying to back them up here, potentially? Try and close the back together and incite a bit more chaos in the front fight. The gap is getting very close though, and we could potentially be seeing some overtakes very, very soon.
Yeah, I wonder if they're trying to regen some battery. I've been told that if they don't do a lot of saving and a lot of battery regen, then they will run out of power at the end of the race if they're not careful. So is it the case of Buller knows he's got track position, he knows they can't do anything realistically in the first sector? Perhaps he's just playing it a little bit intelligently, as he did in Spa, and just trying to get the maximum out of it. Once again, he's in the defensive position at the halfway point of this race. Are we going to see anybody in the pits? No, everybody continues for the moment. But yeah, the pit stops, it looks like everybody's going to wait until the last couple of minutes to dive into the pits. And it does make sense if you think about it. If you take fuel on board at the start of the race, you're not losing anything. Look how confident ProtoH is on the brakes. That is ridiculous. Gained at least 2 car lengths in one braking zone. And everybody going nearly onto the grass there through the S is incredible stuff. You can see, oh, a huge snap from ProtoH. He's going to lose a bit of time, but I think he'll be very, very happy that he kept that one out of the wall.
Yeah, I think something really crucial to remember as well. Even if Buller doesn't win, he can probably take the championship lead, purely because ProtoH didn't have the greatest of races last time out, finished in P9. I mean, realistically, consistency is going to be so key here. Di Giovanni may have won the first race, but a DNF here tonight will effectively mean he's cutting his maximum points total in half. It's only 50 out of the possible 100 points available. So yeah, it's not as ideal as he was probably hoping. He probably could have bagged a decent 30 points here, even with a slightly poor result, but the DNF will mean he counts for absolutely nothing. We continue on though, making our way through turn number 1. Buller still leading up at the front of the field. Got battles here happening as well through the first sector. 3 lap cars ahead of our leading trio that they're going to have to navigate very, very soon if they don't make their pit stops. And seeing how much traffic they might have to face, is there a chance maybe they'll start to consider some pit stops soon?
Well, we've got Warren in the pits at the moment. I've counted a grand total of 5 drivers at the moment who have pitted. Belazug I saw in the pits, Luke Bender in the pits as well, if I remember correctly. So, you know, there's a few drivers deciding to pit now, as Buller getting held up by a back marker there. I think that is Gebhardt, maybe. Just going to get, yeah, Gebhardt just holding up the leaders a little bit. I don't think he had very much place to go, to be fair, battling with Bennett very, very aggressively. So yeah, is there going to be a held up? No, Proline gets past and Wellman's a little bit farther back, so it's okay. Everything resumes as normal, but yeah, these back markers and the traffic not helping. But that is the thing of endurance racing. There's not really the concept too much of blue flags. Obviously, you are expected to get out of the way to a certain extent, but you know, they don't necessarily have to make it so easy as, for example, in a Formula 1 race. Wait,
oh,
that's Buller.
Buller's off. He's lost the car coming up. Oh my days! Our race leader. That is so unfortunate. Our race leader off, making his way out of turn number 1, making his way through the first sector, and now he tumbles all the way down to 3rd. Got a car behind who I think is a lapped car, so he should be quite comfortable in the 3rd. But now it's ProtoH and Melman battling away up at the front for 1st and 2nd, and for what for a moment looked like it could have been a certain victory for Buller. At one point he was leading by over 10 seconds. He's now over 10 seconds behind.
that just looked like a classic tyre letting go and just nothing being able to do. And unfortunately for Buller, what has looked like an incredibly difficult car to drive for the entirety of this race has got the better of him for the second time of this session. And unfortunately that puts him still on a podium position. You can't say that that's a bad result either, but there's a lot of racing to go yet, and he's shown brilliance in terms of pace at the moment. You have to ask yourself as he pulls into the pits, I think that's the correct thing to do with 5 laps remaining. A lot of drivers leaving it very, very short in terms of timing to go. But yeah, you have to ask yourself, is that pushing that they did in the first few laps a little bit too much for the tyres? As I thought that was ProtoH that was going round, but that is a back marker. I think that's Andre that has gone round, perhaps. But yeah, very, very tricky for everybody through that first section now, as I think the tyres are, well, just cooking themselves at this point.
Yeah, I think as well, we've had so many spins with the back markers, so much getting involved. The drivers have had to be extra cautious, and also a few more spins than they might have been expecting. And as a result, I think the tyres have overheated. It's a very hot day here at Road Atlanta as well. So the tyres are taking a big, big beating. 4 minutes left of the pit window, so they're going to have to make their pit stops pretty soon. Most of the drivers have stuck it out all the way. So let's see what they do. Are they coming? This time still going for ProtoH. Moment is, do they do the same? Yeah, they're staying out as well. So yeah, all these drivers just leaving it very, very late to make their pit stops. They've got to make sure they leave themselves enough time to make the pit stop before that pit window does close, because then they'll get disqualified from the race.
Yeah, looking at Buller's pace, the tyres are taking quite a bit of time to warm up. The pace is not as electric as we would have expected, as Misberg into the pits as well, promoting Marino and Warren into the top 10 now. So yeah, a lot of drivers deciding to not leave it to the last second. Reminder, if the drivers are not in the pits by the time that timer of pit open hits 0, I think they even have to be out of the pits by the time that timer hits 0, although I didn't ask too much about the technicalities of that, as I know the rules are sometimes quite complex and can be changed, you know, from race to race. But yeah, as far as I understand, they want to get their pit stops done by the time that pit timer hits 0, put it that way. But we'll have to wait and see who puts it closer to the mark. Mazarak is deciding to pit, but the front two carry on as if nothing were amiss.
Well, they are going to be leading it very late. I mean, if they pit next lap, they should have enough time, but leave it another lap, and then if it is a case of it's when you leave the pits that the timer has to be 0, you got to leave before the timer hits 0, they could potentially be a risk. I'm not sure what the pit loss is like around this track, but yeah, they're going to be leaving it very, very late if they keep going. They have about 40 seconds for their pit stop, which I think they should have enough time to get out regardless, but it's not looking too great if they do continue on for much, much longer. And some drivers going to have to make their pit stops on this lap, otherwise they're not going to have enough time.
Yeah, I'm just looking and seeing if I can find any clarification to the rule. The only thing that I can find is that drivers must make the pit stop between those times, so I can only guess that if they're still in the pits and they have exited the pit by the end of that timer, then they're going to be in deep, deep trouble. So realistically, you want to be in the pits this lap, really. Is anybody going to risk it? Is anybody going to go for it and see what happens? ProtoH carries on. Wellman in the pits. Wellman in the pits. So ProtoH playing it very, very risky at the moment. He's going to have, wow, he's going to have 30 seconds probably left on the pit window. He's not going to exit the pits when the timer hits 0. This could be an interesting, it could be a Michael Schumacher 1998 at Silverstone.
Oh, this is a test of the rules, I guess, see how they work. Well and truly, maybe ProtoH has a better understanding than we do, but as it stands, he's going to enter the pit lane with about 30 seconds to go, maybe a little bit over that. Our race leader, though, if it is the time you have to, when you exit the pit lane, he could be at risk of a disqualification, and that would be utterly devastating for him. Zerani now goes through into second. I think he's even going to be... Serrani's not coming either. He's going to be even bigger issue because he's 30 seconds behind, and with a 30-second margin for ProtoH, Serrani might not even get to the pit lane. There's 45 seconds left of the pit window.
there's no way. They just can't get round in time. I don't think Serrani was one of the drivers I mean, he's up in second place. No, definitely not one of the drivers who pitted. That's going to be an interesting one. Oh, Buller and Mulman. Oh, Buller's off again! Third time, and oh, can he keep it out of the barrier? I cannot believe it. Buller just overcooking it on this first sector. I cannot just put words to it at the moment. That car is just not gripping. It's almost as if they wanted to put a rear wing on it or something. But anyway, moving on. Yeah,
Protan hasn't pitted.
Protan has not pitted either. Uh-oh.
He's continued on, and the pit lane is now closed, and he's disqualified, I think. He's been forced into the pit lane, as for Serrani.
Believe it.
I think they've both been disqualified from the race for failing to make the mandatory pit stop. Our race leader didn't come into the pit lane. Maybe he thought he could try and go to the end and ignore the rule. I'm not too sure what he expected to happen. But our race leader, Protan and Serrani, both out of the race now. They're forced into the pit lane and forced into disqualification.
I am speechless. I cannot believe that we've just seen drivers that were driving such a good race fall foul of maybe not perhaps reading the rules enough. This was a public change. It was announced many times in multiple different, you can't be saying that you didn't. Oh, but Buller's off again into the wall. That's a big one. That's a huge crash into the wall. Buller off and making contact with the rear of the car. So disaster for Buller. That's the fourth off. And those tyres that were brand new, well, there's one good thing about it. At least they will be warmed up if you cook them by going sideways over a curb. But yeah, not the way you want to do that. But 7.3 seconds. I mean, Wellman at the moment has been the masterclass of Jensen Button type consistency as Protan leaves the server in disgust. I think back into the garage. He'll be chucking his helmet quite violently against the wall, in my opinion. Even the gloves will definitely be chucked against the wall, that's for sure, if nothing else. So yeah, sadly, a falling foul of the rule book, and yeah, that's a reminder of how you can be the best racer, but if you don't get everything perfect, then it can just not go your way. And that means that Wellman inherits the lead after 37 laps, and for the moment is storming away from it with it, but Buller can always gain the pace back if they can keep their tyres in a good operating window.
Yeah, well, if the talking point in Spa was the zero-stop strategy that was pulled off by Antonio Di Giovanni, I think this pit stop fumble is going to be the big talking point for the two drivers who have effectively ruined their races. They were running pretty good. I mean, especially with leading the race as well. I can't understand how that one just slipped the mind. I think the drivers, I'm not sure if they have the same graphic they have at the top, but I'd assume it said pit window open at the top of their screens as well. So I'm not exactly sure what's happened there. Buller is catching Mulman though here. Gained a second, I think, on this previous lap. I think Mulman has some traffic to deal with.
Yeah, catching quite a bit as well. It's well, we know that Buller has the pace. If they can keep it clean, they will be fighting for victory at the end of this race, that's for sure. I think, I will admit I've fallen foul to this, but that just speaks to my mediocrity as a driver, that I have failed sometimes to notice very visible information on the screen about some racing rules in certain games, which has led to disqualifications and drive-throughs. So it can happen. It happens to, I would say, the best of us, but that definitely isn't my case. But yeah, it is easy to miss, and yeah, they won't make that mistake twice, I can guarantee you that. But it does mean that two cars have been pulled out of this top four battle that we had just before the pit stops. Di Giovanni just saying that, hampered a little bit by the back markers. I saw their comments a few laps earlier, and, just had basically too much damage. And for Jansch commented earlier saying that, just used the wrong strategy and just had no grip from start to finish, basically, and had to retire the car. But yeah, Protan is in chat, not saying kind stuff about themselves. Look, it happens, you can take a lot of positives from this race, in my opinion. You had great race pace, you were very consistent as well, and so better luck in the next one, but for sure it'll probably be a very bittersweet feeling at the moment.
Well, let's see. Buller still catching. 6.1 seconds now. That gap is still dropping. 25 minutes left to go. Here at Road Atlanta, is there a chance for Buller to catch? Or is it going to be second best for the second time running? Miranda also doing very well. Currently sits in third. Got Mazarakis closing in. Currently in P4. Been a pretty good race so far for the Forenzo driver as well, so he's doing a pretty good job gaining his way through the field. Oh, now, I mean, despite the cadenza dominance that we've been seeing really throughout this race, we have 5 different cars represented in the top 5 positions. So it really does show that once you do get through the nitty-gritty, once the race gets underway, the car isn't the most important thing around here. The driver really does set the tone.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually how the cadenzas at the start looked to have the ultimate pace, but they've all fallen by the wayside, really. You know, you had at the start, you had Jansch going very well, you had Di Giovanni going well, you had Prodan obviously going well, and now it's just been whittled down to one car, I think, in the top 5 that is a cadenza. So yeah, very, very tricky. I must admit the Foranzas have not been going very well around here. They have been struggling all the time. There's one in P4, but that's more from other people's problems than from race pace. It looks like maybe some overheating tyres or something like that, or just the setup not in the right operating window. There's a lock up there from Warren. He was chasing down Marino, so yeah, you can see the Foranza very, very skittish on this first sector, but yeah, he's got the pace, has Warren. It'll be probably closing in on this lap and the next to try and do an overtake. But yeah, you can see Buller at the front of the gap, 4.9 seconds now, so it's back within 5 seconds, and they're heating up. And I think that the gaps here are literally just displaying how difficult this track is to drive, how difficult it is to keep the car in the operating temperature, as a lot of drivers are just struggling for consistency at the moment. Just going to go back on some comments here. We had Belasuk just saying that there were a couple of incidents with some passes of back markers or traffic, and yeah, just does not go your way most of the time. It happens sometimes in some races, and that's sadly part of racing. You can't expect to win them all, but again, good pace, I'd say. And yeah, thank you for leaving your comments as well. It's good for us as commentators to know exactly what happened, as sadly the cameras can't be everywhere. But yeah, a lot of incidents happening, and just shouts to the nature of the difficulty of this track.
Yeah, and continuing on up at the front, Buller, 47 seconds off the back now, consistently closing that gap, 6 tenths faster on the previous lap. Well, I think they've just come across the line, 2 tenths faster on the previous lap, but 6 tenths faster on the lap before that, so finding decent chunks of time here and there. And looks like Buller could be rocking up on the scene once again in the final few laps of the race.
Yeah, but I will say, as I say always, as I think Wellman was stuck behind a back marker there just in the distance. We'll see as Buller comes across yes, yeah, just stuck behind a back marker, having to overtake, so lost a little bit of time there, didn't Wellman. But yeah, you can see the commitment here from Buller. Just a little bit of times where he's lost the rear end of the car, basically. But you know, the Cadenza and the Peugeot have been those cars that have been the most on pace but the most difficult to drive, and I really do think that sometimes maybe having a more stable car can be much more beneficial to you, as I think actually Wellman was getting hassled a little bit by the back marker there, as we'll try and see. Yeah, got I think that might be Bennett actually behind. Let us see, it is Bennett behind, so Bennett who's played a role in a few incidents here. I'm not saying that their fault, but they've been around the positions where the front drivers have had problems. He just seems to be that magnet there that attracts attention. But yeah, getting out of the way, no problems caused there, obviously. And it just seems to happen that he's always around when there's an incident, so I'm staying on board for the moment. Buller is going to have to overtake, but you can see the gap, 3.7 seconds now. So yeah, Buller will be on Benestead, oh, huge amount of understeer there. Wow, the tyres just did not want to turn whatsoever there, and they were off the brakes completely. Nothing happening, nobody home on those front tyres and front brakes.
Yeah, well, let's see. The gap now 3.4 seconds, and that was without any traffic interference this time around. The gaps are still tumbling. Half a second on the previous lap. We'll get an update in just a moment, but I think it's going to be a big chunk of time that Buller is finding this time around. And let's see what the gaps are looking like in just a few moments. 3.4 seconds across the line this time around. What were the times? 9.8 for Moment, 9.0 for Buller. He's just done a personal best for the race as well. He is flying out there in second. A bit of a snap though as he came through turn number 1. That's not going to be helping him in his charge to catch up. The gap now back up to 4 seconds with 20 minutes left to go. He's got to catch, what, about a second every 5 minutes, so 2/10 a lap roughly he's going to need to find here, and that would be enough to get him there, and I think he's doing enough at this current rate to catch up.
I'm puzzled by that puff of gravel that I saw and, dust being kicked up on the outside of the first sector there. Not exactly sure who's gone off there, but that was very close to the wall. Just want to take a reminder while we are waiting for Buller to inevitably close the gap. At the moment, as you can see, visual distance now has been locked in. You can hit the subscribe button to the YouTube channel to follow for more content and for also trailers of upcoming potential releases by this wonderful development team, and also to look at all of their previous content as well. As we see the gap now stabilized actually around 3.9 seconds for the moment. We won't get an update yet, still 3.9 seconds, so no time gains that lap. Also want to take the chance to remind everybody that the Mexican track, the F1 Grand Prix track, as well as the electric Grand Prix racing layout is available at half price at the moment on the Virtual Racing Cars website. Link is in the description of the YouTube video right now, and will be even after the broadcast has finished as well. And you can also get reductions on the packs of cars that you see right now, and also other content on the website. A lot of good stuff there. Many great racing packs and great disciplines like touring cars, like single-seaters, and all kinds of classic cars as well on there, so do check it out. I must admit I was amazed at the amount of cars that I saw on the website. I just kept scrolling and kept being more and more fascinated by what I found, so fascinate yourselves as well and go and have a look.
Yeah, so not a great lap last time around from Buller, but he is starting to catch back up once again. Lucas Molman, pretty consistent, doing 109.6s, 109.5s, and setting personal best laps, but it was a 9.3 for Buller, and he continues to close the gap, now back to 3.6 seconds. The gap is slowly closing in once again. Looks like maybe another mistake though for the Peugeot driver. Got a bit of battle here as well for P6. Marino getting closer and closer to the back. He could be putting some pressure on in just a few moments.
I think Marino has been passed by Warren at some point in these last laps while we were watching the gap between Buller and Molman. Yeah, there's been an overtake here because Warren was chasing down Marino, but it looks like Marino, paradoxically, as he said, is putting pressure now on Warren. So maybe they're following each other and taking everybody else's lines. Oh, a snap for both of them. Synchronized snapping, maybe synchronized drifting into the next turn. Let's have a look. Maybe not as wow. Oh, onto the grass. That's a way to get that line, to get the overspeed. No, surely not to the inside. No, I think sensibly backed out of it. Good attempts though. I'll give kudos points for that. That was an impressive save right there from Marino, adding to the drama of this race, as we've got Kraus as well chasing down Mazarakis in the battled Faranza on this track. The Canenza, really definitely the car that I think you'd want to be in at this point. So can Kraus profit from that? What is their tyre life like? Have they been able to keep their battery in good condition for the end of this race? That's what you've got to consider as well. Is Buller burning battery to get back to the lead so that they can force Molman to make a mistake? We'll have to wait and see. As Kraus gets in there inexorably closer and just piles on more and more pressure. I think there was even some flashing lights there just to emphasize, hey, I'm here, I'm chasing you down. Just to remind you, don't make any mistakes in the first sector. As all the way over the curb. That was beautiful driving, but aggressive and risk-taking stuff, that's for sure. Oh, just leaving a millimetre, and they would have been on the grass. They're all over the back of Mazarakis at the moment.
Yeah, this is a very intense battle here for the P4 position. Big points up for grabs. Although the points pretty close together between the two positions. Don't want to take too big of a risk. You don't want to take yourself out of contention. He looks to the inside through turn number 7, and Kraus is through to 4th. What a move there from the cadenza driver. Gets the move done. An opportunistic dive to the inside. Mazarakis left without anything he could do. The car ran wide, and that is P4 for Kraus. What a send to the inside.
Yeah, just putting pressure on, and at some point something has to give. Yeah, Mazarakis really struggling with lockups as well. I think maybe the temperature of those front tires. Well, they've had a spin around there. I'm not exactly sure who that was. Was it Miss Berg, maybe? No.
Crow, I think. Maybe. I've just seen a crash come up for Crow.
Yes, it is Crow, as Crow is coasting at the moment. Good spot there, Josh. I think there's... Oh, no, don't stop on the apex. No, that's disaster. Oh, we've had a spin. I'm not exactly sure. Was it Andrade? I think that was Andrade spinning.
Yeah, that was Andrade.
Oy, 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 oy. That's not the place you want to stop on the track. Disaster there, and it could have been so much worse. But Andrade, I think, is under pressure here. No, it looks like they're on different... that was actually Warren and Marino going past. So Warren and Marino, after all of that, might have even just wound up getting collected by that problem right there. And I think there's going to be some hand gestures between Crow and Andrade there as they leave the first sector. I'm just thinking, my days, the words that must have been said by Andrade coming around that last turn. I'm glad we don't have them for broadcast, put it that way.
Yeah, well, let's see what they can do now. A bit more fresh air up ahead of them. They can continue on their battle. Chapman just getting passed by Bennett. Not sure what's happened there. Looks like Chapman's had a bit of an off down at turn 1, which is unfortunate for them. Running up in P11 just a moment ago. Yeah, not looking great for them. The car does not want to turn off on the grass. They're onto one of the alternative layouts. They can cut themselves back onto the track and get going once again, but they've got Crow behind who's never mind, he just had a spin as well. So no longer any pressure coming from behind. I think it was.
I'm trying to find, well, we just selected Crow. It wasn't Crow.
Oh no, Kraus.
Kraus.
I think.
Oh, no.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who it was.
You're right, it was Kraus.
Yeah.
Kraus was all the way... No, it can't have been. Kraus was past Maz... Okay.
I have no clue.
Driver has had a spin. We have not figured out who it is, but some driver spun in the background while we were watching simultaneous pirouetting in the first sector, like we've not seen this entire race. We've seen all kinds of incidents. We've seen 4 cars off on one layout. We've had synchronized drifting and synchronized lockups. We've had going off in sympathy. We've had going off at turn 1 by misjudging a braking point. It's all happened, but that sector 1 has been the main sticking point for most drivers, it has to be said.
Yeah, and now look at the gap between our top two, 1.6 seconds. Buller continues to close. Maybe there was some interference with this lapped car in front, but this could be the turning point in the race for the Peugeot driver, who comes over to the outside line to pull himself through as they make their way towards the chicane. And now 1.4 seconds, he can very much see the race leader in front of him. 1.2 as they make their way through the chicane. The gap is closing, the battle is coming, and with just 12 minutes left to go, 1.2 seconds is the gap. This could be race victory coming once again, despite all the mistakes that have come for Buller. He can start to apply the pressure, and Moment could be feeling it very soon. That gap closing and closing, and very soon that car is going to get bigger and bigger in those mirrors.
I'm just going to confirm. I think I've figured out. I think it was Miranda that had a spin of some sort. I spotted the grey on the car in the back. So I think it might have been Miranda, who's now 26 seconds off of the front pack. That is my best guess, as we've got Warren fighting as well with Kraus. Wow, hang on. Kraus has dropped pace here. Kraus
I think
has
he's had a
so
spin.
much pace. Might have had a big off here, because Mazarakis has passed and Warren is now defending the position he's just inherited. So what a bizarre place to have a mistake there, as Kraus is going to go right back past, I think, using the battery. So we take the collision with Warren. No, no, that's not what we want to see. But incredible save there by Warren, just tapping, bouncing off the wall, recovering as if nothing happened. And ironically, that's put Marino back past. So all of that work by Warren has been undone. I think it was just an unfortunate case of overspeed on the exit of the last turn and just clipping the rear a little bit. And while they had a little bit of sideways momentum, it just pitched them into a tiny bit of spin. Yeah, that's going to be one probably for the stewards. As have a look at this, Buller is closing, and he's closing fast. He is getting high-resolution pictures of that diffuser of the leader, Wellman, and yeah, it's going to be so close at the end of this race. 10 minutes and just a tiny bit more remain on the clock after we have had more than an hour racing so far, and it all comes down to this, the second race in a row where with 10 minutes remaining we still have no idea who the winner is going to be.
Well, as it stands, it looks like Buller has the ultimate pace, but you've got to make the overtake first, and we've seen already tonight how difficult it can be to pass around here heading into the chicane of 10. Molman going defensive, Buller trying to look for a better run out of the corner. Could there be a chance with a bit of slipstream on the run down towards turn number 1? Through 11, through 12 we go across the start finish line. The gap is now just 0.2 of a second as we head down towards turn number 1 of this wonderful circuit. Not close enough for Buller. Try and get the slingshot out of the corner. Now run through the S's. Does he have the performance into the braking zone of 3? Not quite just yet. Looks like Molman has a bit more confidence, especially with the clean air in front. Through the S's now we go diving down the hill, but just as it stands for the moment, looks like Molman has the advantage. The overtaking does not seem too easy around here. Here we go now towards turn 6 and 7. Is there a chance potentially to the inside? Having a bit of a look. Molman having to defend into 6, but very much closing in, and very soon we could be seeing a pass potentially into the chicane of 10.
Molman running deep. Oh, Buller nearly lost the car there. A little twitch of oversteer. But you can see Molman taking a defensive line, running it late in on the brakes, trail braking, and doing all that he can. But look at the slipstream here. Buller maybe deploying some battery as well. Molman goes defensive on the inside. Buller's going to take it all around the way around the outside. No way. No way is that going to be an overtaking move. It is. He makes it stick around the outside. I can't believe it. And up, but Molman's not going to let it go. All the way up the inside. It's going to be side by side around the last turn. And oh, Buller on the grass. He's forced to give it up. He just run himself way too wide. And that means that Wellman, through a fantastic defence, has managed to save it for one more lap. But Buller looks like he is on form at the moment. The car performing as he wants it to. And this is not over yet with 8 minutes left on the timing screens.
Well, it's absolutely imperative you get an excellent exit out of turn number 7 at the top of the circuit. If you get that good run, it gives you a chance to defend, but that's going to be very at risk. When you're under pressure into 6, it's going to risk your setup into this slingshot of corners. And once again, Buller gets a great exit out of 7, and this time he's so much closer as they run down towards turn number 10. He takes the outside line once again. Molman with that defensive inside line, but I think it's going to be done and dusted before they even get to the corner. And tucking in, Lucas Molman has to give up the race lead, and defensive Buller goes into the chicane. Is there a chance once again to try and slingshot out of 10B, get the run towards the start finish line? He's pulling himself alongside, up onto the grass. He gets squeezed, and Molman just about has to give it up. Is there a chance in the turn? Well, there's contact between our race leaders. Molman and Buller come together here at Road Atlanta. Molman continues on in the race lead, and there's now 5 seconds between our top 2.
I can't believe what I've just seen. It was always going to come to blows. It was always going to boil over. But that is not what I expected. Just a touch on the grass. A little wiggle from both of the cars. The tyres complaining. And both of them pitched into each other. And Buller's tyres are really now crying out in pain after that little spin. And very, very lucky that it wasn't more of a big incident. Although I think Molman is giving back the position, it looks like. I think good sportsmanship, I must say. Round of applause to Wellman for just recognising the possible role he had to play play in that incident. But yeah, I think Buller just indicating that maybe that was not on. So yeah, and I think maybe 50-50 from what it looked like from an outside perspective. It was half 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Just unfortunate on the like switch of oversteer. And look at how aggressive Norman is back on the throttle. Not going to be able to get it up the inside for the moment. But yeah, the battle still rages on. But you've got to give credit to both drivers for not losing their heads and for just playing it as fair as possible. And that means we have another great battle for the lead. 6 minutes left on the session.
Well, there's still a chance for Molman to remake that pass. He's given the place back fair and square. He's keeping himself in the fight there. 0.4 of a second is the gap. He's still sticking close through the S's. There could still be a shot in these final 6 minutes of the race. But he's going to have to make his move nice and quick. He doesn't want to give Buller a chance to pull away with that pace advantage he has. Here we go on board here with Bennett making our way through the first sector. Trying to find our way up in this fight for P11. Can he find his way through? Up at the front though, Molman only a couple tenths back, and as we run once again down towards turn number 10, our top 2 drivers are going to run wheel to wheel this time around. Buller with the inside, Molman to the outside. Are we going to see a repeat of what we've seen in the past few laps? Can Buller hang on to the race lead here into the chicane, looking for a bit of a switchback, but they both go deep into the corner, and that is going to compromise their exit, and Buller maintains the race lead as they start the next lap.
Yes, this is incredible racing. This is what we love to see, as both drivers are giving it absolutely everything. Incredible defensive driving by Buller, but also, oh no, I was about to say Wellman was going to have just the best attacking and aggressive moves and trying to put Buller under pressure, and then he goes off at turn 1. Giving a little bit of a breather to Buller. Maybe Buller can use this to his advantage, but that was just timing of all timings there for me to make that comment. The commentator's curse happens again, and it's probably not the first time, probably not the last time in this session, as I think Buller has taken the opportunity maybe to recharge the battery or to cool the tyres a little bit. So the battle rages on.
Well, this is going to be the crucial thing. If one of the drivers doesn't have enough battery to get to the end of the race, they're going to have to start through some saving, all the while fighting away. They've got to make sure, I guess, that they've got to get ahead so they're backing the other driver up and not letting them pull away. But the gap back down to 0.4 of a second. We've got this battle here as well. The fight for P6, right on the back of Marino as they make their way in towards turn 1. He's not going to get close enough just yet for the pass. Maybe the slingshot out of the first corner could have a chance through the first sector.
Yeah, we've also got the battle with Bennett as well, trying to go for an overtake into the braking zone on Gebhardt. It's looking to the inside. It's looking possible. It's looking like the move might be done into the braking zone side by side. Who's going to be the bravest on the brakes? It looks like Gebhardt's just got the... Oh, lock up! No, that's put him wide onto the gravel. Oh, but Bennett spins around as well. Both of them getting it wrong. And that might mean that, yeah, whoever it was the back marker there will get past both of them. He'll be happy with that. But, yeah, Kraus putting Mazarakis under pressure as well. Everything is kicking off at the moment. 3 minutes remaining in the session. My voice is giving up, the tyres are giving up, the battery's giving up, but one thing that's not giving up is the action.
Yeah, 0.6 of a second between first and second with a handful of laps to go. As it stands, Buller leads. He seemed to have the pace advantage throughout the race, and he is setting electric pace here as well. Best lap at 8.8 for him. Best lap for Lucas Molman is a 9.7, but their lap times currently 11.7 and 11.8. They're equal on pace here, but they are a good few seconds off the pace as it stands. They are in ultimate conservation mode, trying to limp home with their worn tyres, with their empty batteries, and it's just a matter of tenths of a second that separates them as they start lap number 61.
Oh, Kraus all over the back. Look at that. Oh, going to the inside. Contact again. Just Mazarakis shutting the door, not going to let him make that same move again. He thought, naughty, naughty boy, don't do it again. And he's just shut the door on that one. And that means that Kraus does not have the overspeed necessary to get a move done. But Wellman all over the back of Buller. Once again, it's game on here. And, oh, look at that traction from Buller. He's gained 0.3 of a second just out of the exit of Sector 1 there, out of the exit of the S's. but it's safe to say that the tyres are crying out for mercy at this point. The battery is probably cooked, the fuel is down to 0, the concentration is at 100 but is fading and fading fast, and from Wellman the time is not in his favour. He needs to get an overtake done. When that timer hits 0, it's the last lap of the race, so he's basically got, I'd say, 3 laps here to make this move. This is going to be incredibly close. They'll have this lap coming up, then next lap as well if they get a move on, so they'll have 3 laps left according to my calculations. It's all kicking off here, and it looks like Buller is just trying to pull away at the moment.
Yeah, well, as well, Molman's going to know he's got 40 points in the bag right now. He doesn't want to make a big mistake and lose that opportunity to score some decent points. He finished in P7 last time out, so a P2 result would still be an amazing finish for Lucas Molman. Buller trying to pick up the victory here tonight. They finished second last time out. Let's see if he can hold on just for a couple more laps. There's less than a minute left on the clock. We're going to be heading towards the final lap very, very soon. And as it stands, it's Buller who leads. 8 tenths now, 9 tenths is the gap. Molman still trying to apply the pressure as they make their way down towards turn number 10. Looks like we will get an extra lap in here. Still enough time left on the clock. I think it was 63 laps of racing then that we're going to have here at Road Atlanta as we make our way in towards the chicane. 30 seconds left to go before the checker flag will be flying. And into the pit lane, Marino. What is going on here?
Not exactly sure. He was defending valiantly from Warren, but it looks like it has all amounted to nothing as they have to pull into the pits, which means that Mazarakis is now just the only one fighting with Kraus, and Warren is out in the middle of nowhere. I have no explanation. As the gap at the front is still less than a second, or just bouncing up to a second at certain parts of the track, as the pace is relentless here, and it looks like both drivers are pushing absolutely flat out. Oh, back markers getting involved, and that's Buller. Buller has been taken out. Buller has come into contact for the second time on the last lap of a race. I cannot believe it. It's happened twice in a row, but Buller has been taken out of a potential race victory. This might be bittersweet from Wellman. I cannot believe it.
2 races in a row, a back marker on the final lap of the race has decided the outcome, and twice in a row, Buller robbed of the victory in towards the final few corners up at the front of the field. He finished 7th last time out. Through the final 2 corners he comes now. Lucas Molman is your winner here in Road Atlanta. It's chaos with the back markers on the final lap, handing him the checkered flag first. Buller will come home in second. Bittersweet for him. It's still a second points finish, and he will take the championship lead here in VRC. But what it could have been here tonight, so many mistakes, and twice now his final lap has been decided by a back marker. Morand coming through the final corner now to pick up a first podium in their debut race. What a result for them. Kraus as well coming home in P4. And we've got Mazarakis not too far behind, actually. Could still be in with a shot if there's a mistake here. But it looks like they make their way through the final few corners nice and cleanly. P4 for Kraus, P5 for Mazarakis. And they are our final drivers on the lead lap.
Gone off. Mazarakis off on the last lap of the race. They had the last turn, the last opportunity to get it wrong, and he's just gone off, but he's made it across the line even with damage. Doesn't matter. It's just academic at this point. Will we see some donuts? Come on. No donuts. Disappointment right there. But there we go. A lot of drivers, I think, happy with their results. But what a just mind-boggling race with Wellman in first, Buller second after that disastrous contact there with Miranda rounding out the podium. Kraus P4, Mazarakis P5, Luke Bender P6. Good job, I must say, from starting back down in P15 if I remember correctly. Warren P7, Misberg P8, Marino P9, Andrade P10, Bennett P11, Gebhardt P12, Chapman P13, Werner P14, Krau P15, and that is basically the final results, although I think some of those drivers didn't even finish the race, but have been counted on the timing board anyway. But yeah, incredible scenes, and I think there might be a few drivers that will have a few words to say about that, but I have to say Wellman deserved that so much also, with just the consistency that they displayed. I didn't see any major mistakes that entire race, and although Bühler and Di Giovanni and Prodhan and so many other drivers had such good pace, Wellman was the only one not making the mistakes.
Yeah, consistency is key in racing. You've got to be there. You've got to be in it to win it. Making too many mistakes, that can be costly. And ultimately, we've seen that here tonight. Buller could have been 30, 40 seconds up the road probably with a perfect race tonight. He had the ultimate pace, just if you just look at the times. But ultimately, those few mistakes dropped him into that fight, and that was what that cost him here tonight.
Yeah, I want to take the opportunity to say once again as well, if you want to get involved in the action, you can always head to the Virtual Racing Cars website to get all of that sweet content, and indeed the Mexico track at 50% off at the moment. And yeah, I hope that you can all get involved and enjoy the racing experience, as I can finally soothe my ears by getting rid of the noise of cars that has been echoing so nicely in my headset for an hour and 15 minutes worth of racing. But shall we see if we can get some interviews in? Do we have anybody, Josh, waiting for some interviews?
I am not sure. My Discord has just frozen, so I cannot see, to be honest.
Not the best. I think if it's the new glitch, you might have to drag the window or double click the window to go full screen to reset it. That's a pro tip of mine.
I'm just going to quickly close and reopen Discord and see if that fixes anything.
Let me see if I can drag the drivers in. It's of no problems. Technical issues do happen. You ought to see sometimes the stuff that happens on broadcast. Let me see. I think I might be able to drag the race winner in here. Lucas, I think we can hear you.
Yeah, hello.
Okay, well, that was a race, wasn't it?
That was mayhem. Jesus Christ. The traffic on track was insane. It was all about, car management, traffic management, just making sure that you don't do any mistakes. Very unexpected, I have to say. I didn't, P1, I take it. Great. But very unexpected, I have to say.
Yeah, was there a point, because we were talking all throughout the race about your consistency, about the ability to just keep it on track when other people were faltering. Was there any point where you said to yourself, maybe, hang on a minute, I've got a chance at a win? And, how do you think that all played out from your perspective?
Yeah, so my strategy was pretty simple. Every time when I saw a back marker, I, drove slower, was a little bit more conservative on my braking points, making sure I get past the guys without any issues. Of course, you have some people running in the championship which are very inexperienced, which is fine, but it means you have to be extra careful while overtaking the slower guys. So that is what I did. I took some time, but I have to say, overall, the Solar I was driving is probably one of the slowest cars of the ProtoH cars. So I did not really expect it to be even on the podium, because the condenser, even the Ferenzos, I did all the BOP running for the cars in Road Atlanta, so I knew which cars would be the fastest, and the Isola wasn't the one in Road Atlanta. But I think at the end of the day, it was all about getting through the traffic without any issues. And I think my strategy was spot on as well. Making sure that I got onto the pits. I could have done one extra lap, but I really did not want to take the chance that I missed the pit window, so I went the conservative route. And I wanted to make sure if P1 is going one extra lap, that I have already warmed up tires and can attack him. It was interesting strategy gamble at the end of the day.
Seems that way. Hopefully, have we got Josh back?
Yeah, my Discord has fixed itself.
Okay,
throughout those final 10 or so minutes, you were having some great battles out there. How tough was it, though, to keep yourself in that mental game, making sure you kept the car on track and didn't lose too much time?
I was just saving battery because I knew the Peugeot was quicker than my car. So I knew from the beginning of the race that the Peugeot was doing a couple of mistakes. So I was hoping by the time he was catching me up that I would be able to get him a little bit out of his rhythm and close a couple of doors and just have a little bit of racing. But unfortunately, I was running out of battery. That's the reason why the Peugeot could catch me on the straights. But still, after the collision we had on the last corner, which was 50% me being impatient and 50% some sort of netcode error, I decided to let him pass again and do it on the proper way. And obviously, I knew the Peugeot would be quicker in the last 5-6 minutes of the race. But luckily or unluckily, the traffic, managing the traffic at the end of the day, got the best of the Peugeot driver, and I was able to get the best out of it. It was close. It was like mayhem going on in turn 4, whatever it was. But I made it work.
Yeah, that's an understatement. And usually I'd call out a driver for giving themselves a pat on the back in an interview for driving a slower car. But I must admit, it looked like he just got the entirety of pace out of the car. He couldn't have gone much faster at all. And at the end of the day, didn't put a foot wrong on what I want to deem as one of the most complicated tracks to drive overall. And just a masterclass of just managing a race, to be honest. And do you think you can take this confidence into the next 2 races?
Let's wait and see. As I said, I think of all the cars I'm driving right now, probably one of the slowest cars of the bunch. The positive thing is, I think a lot of people have never really driven on Mexico so far, and it is a track which has by default less drag on the cars because we are simulating the air pressure on the track as well. So I think everyone will need to get used to the lower downforce level you will be running in Mexico, even though you cannot change the setup of the car. So I don't really know how Mexico will work out, how the drivers will adapt to the different track conditions. But yeah, I mean, I would be happy to be on the top 6, maybe top 8. I think this is like realistic with that car.
That sounds like a good objective. Maybe Josh, if you got a last question, otherwise we'll let Lucas carry on and celebrate the victory.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything much else from me. Just massive congratulations, a great drive today, and the consistency really paying off for yourself.
Yeah, thanks so much. And thanks so much again for making the commentary. Thanks so much.
Well, and I just want to say thank you ever so much for demonstrating sportsmanlike conduct, letting your rival pass. And it's something that we see very rarely, and I think it should be commended 110% every time we see it nowadays. So thank you for doing that. And it makes the victory even more deserved, in my opinion.
Thanks so much. Take care, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was a very, very happy... if we can trap them back into the waiting room. There we go. Very, very happy Lucas right there. And, it goes without saying, doesn't it? I wonder if we can drag Franz Bühler in here. It would be good to get an interview with the top 3 if we could. I'm having a bit of difficulties dragging them in with my screen layouts. Could you manage that?
I'm going to be honest, I don't know. I still don't know who is who with their Discord names.
But let's figure it out.
It does get a bit confusing. Not even sure.
Pick a driver at random. We'll figure out who they are as we're doing the interview.
There we go.
So we are trying to figure out which drivers we have in the chat. So could you just?
I am Sami Belazou. I don't think I was on the podium this race.
Oh, okay. We might have a chat with you later. We're trying to interview the top 3, so apologies.
Okay, no problem.
No worries.
Good luck, man. There's so much people in the waiting room.
Yeah, indeed.
But there's Bühler that is explaining us the crash.
Well, we'd love to have his word. So if he could get in here as soon as possible, we'd love to have a chat with him.
Do you want me to call him?
I'll drag him. Well, if you could, yes, that would be lovely. Thank you.
Okay.
And
it's Vinny 4K Bühler.
Aha, right. We might be able to do something with that. Thank you ever so much for the information.
No problem, guys.
And thanks for your kind comments as well.
No problem. It was so entertaining, the race.
Thank you.
The
Thank
end,
you.
like I don't really regret today left.
Well, thanks, and hopefully we can speak with you as well. But we'll try and get
No problem,
Buddha in
guys.
first. Thank you. Alrighty, we had a username given there. Can you see that username?
Yeah. I will drag
Okay.
it up now.
Okay.
Oh, sorry if we interrupted any discussions there. We just wanted to have a chat with you. Obviously, we like to interview the top three. What can I say? What can I start with? Great pace, good consistency, a few mistakes, obviously, but every driver is making mistakes. And for the second race in a row, it's come down to a bit of contact on the last lap. I mean, first, I offer my commiserations, heartfelt commiserations to you. But on the opposite side, you take the lead of the championship. So how do you feel about the whole race?
I would say like a bit of overall. I would say a bit of luck. Even considering the last lap, like Antonio had such a great pace, but I didn't see what happened. I didn't saw what happened to him, but I think that it has been took off. But yeah, probably, and that's a Foyo, like Ponha, the Cadillac that took the lead when I spawned. He missed the pit stop, so yeah, again a bit of luck. So the pace was there, but yeah, like a lot of events changed the race. Like the last lap, I'm not upset that much because Luke, like he took the lead, like pushing me when we were at the start finish line, and he like held up to let me pass again. So thanks him a lot to do that. But yeah, race in a row is not that we wanted. But going into the race, I was like thinking I would be in fifth position on a great pace because of the the practice session. I did a lot of lap, like 300 to prepare this race, and when I saw the live timing, I was really far away from the best lap. And I was like, yeah, maybe the Peugeot is not made for the track. Maybe like the fact that it's a ground effect car should complicate the things because of the bumps and everything. But yeah, good qualifying, good race, and yeah.
Lead of the championship as well, has to be said.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, happy, really happy for that. Even if I didn't win a race yet, but yeah, thinking like that is a bit better. But I don't know how much from how much I took the lead, but maybe
I'm
20
counting,
points.
according to this, I'm great at maths, 12 points according to my dubious math skills, from Lucas, actually, who moves into P2.
Oh.
Antonio Di Giovanni is in third place with 51 points, so he picks up one solitary point from the previous race.
Okay. Okay. Oh, Luke finished like how he finished like the race before at Spa. Finished
He was
like
seventh.
seventh. Okay. 12 point. Oh, that's great. That's great. But the next track will maybe suit a bit better the Peugeot because it's a nearly flat track. So I expect to be a bit faster than on this track. The Cadillac were rocket ship. If you see the lap time, Antonio, Ponhan, and I don't remember. Cross 2 was very fast. So yeah, like I said, a bit of luck because they weren't in the match for the lead because of some events. But yeah, next race will be probably better for everyone.
Okay, over to you, Josh.
Yeah, do you think Mexico's a track that you yourself drive well at? Do you think is it a track you're well accustomed to? Do you think you can do well there?
Mexico, you said?
Yeah, Mexico.
I believe
Yes.
so.
Yeah, Mexico. I didn't drove a lot on this track, only with Formula One, so I don't know how it goes with such a cars. But yeah, I think it would be good. It would be good.
Well, I mean, hopefully at some point we'll see you on the top step of the podium, maybe, because it's starting to get a little bit of a habit, unfortunately, to have a bit of incidents at the end, but which I don't wish on any drivers. But if you have to have incidents, finishing P2 is kind of the best case scenario in that situation. So perhaps we will see a comeback from you. Lucas was talking about how, to echo your comments, how Mexico being a low downforce track and having low air density, and they've simulated that on the track, it will alter the performance of cars. And so maybe, do you think we'll see drivers having less consistency? Do you think you'll be able to profit from that with what you were describing, the car being better suited to it?
Oh, I didn't knew, sorry, that they were low. Like in Aston Corsa, they would do that, so that's cool. To be honest, I really don't know. I like in terms of consistency for everyone. Mexico is not as complicated as World Atlanta, so like I said, it would be better for everyone. But I expect the race like less chaotic than this one. This one was very chaotic. Sorry. Like I said, like every car should be again on a better like step of equality, So I hope, Mexico would be a good race.
Well, we hope so too. Unless Josh has any other questions, I think we'll leave you to it and just wish you all the best for the next race, and thanks for the good entertainment.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Josh,
best of luck for next time up.
No,
nothing from me. Just
okay.
Best of luck, and hopefully that first win will finally come your way.
Yeah.
Right.
Alrighty.
Lovely stuff.
Yeah, it's lovely to hear. If we can drag them back to the waiting room. Whoop! I think we drag them back at the same time. Let us see if we can get a word with Cedric Miranda.
I don't think we will. I've just seen he said in race chat that he struggles a bit with the English, so I don't think we'll be hearing from him.
That's understandable. I will say, if they're watching broadcast, I can translate French. If they want to leave a word or comment in French, I can translate it. It's no problem. We'll do the classic, endurance thing where we're translating a comment mid-session, as they say. But it's of no problem if they want to leave a comment in French. I can do a translation. But it's understandable. They've had a long race. They've raced really hard, and it means I've tried to get the standings up, but for some reason my screenshot tool isn't working, so that's cool. But let's just do a quick recap on the points for people that want the point standings. So Buehler moves into P1 with 80 points, with Lucas Mollman in second place with 68 points. Antonio Di Giovanni in third with 51 points, as I said previously. Mazarakis in fourth place with consistency again, netting them 40 points total. Sorani, even with the DNF of this race, if I remember correctly, they have moved, they keep P5, let's put it that way, with Cedric Miranda moving up into into sixth position with 35 points. Got it the wrong way round there. Jansch, who didn't have a great race this time out, but had the pace again, so we'll have to wait and see for them. Moving up to, or remaining in P7 with 30 points, equal now with Georg Kraus for in eighth place, so equal. Urbanovsky P9, 25 points, and rounding out the top 10 we have Belasug in 10th place with 22. Casual shout out to Luke Bender in 11th place, because I've given him so much stick over the event that I have to shout him out at this point. Marino and Warren still, with all of that battling, outside of the top 10 in terms of the points. So it just goes to show that you have to have the pace, but you also have to have the good track position. And I think in Mexico we'll see a lot more open racing, where the drivers can really flex those pace muscles and get stuck into the action.
Yeah, something interesting I've just noticed as well. 5 of the 8 drivers who have done both races in our top 10 didn't have a good race today. So some of the drivers up there struggling with the consistency. Only 3 of the drivers who did round 1 and round 2 in that top 10 scoring decent points today. So it gives those drivers who missed the first race a really great opportunity to jump themselves up the order, try and close that points margin. Most of them, I think, in fact, all 5 of them scoring less than 5 points today. So yeah, it's a big opportunity for them to try and close that gap.
Yeah, and that is the difficulty and nature of endurance racing, is that you've got to adapt to multiple tracks, to different environments where either you're fuel limited, tires limited, or just it's such a difficult track that you've just got to work with it. So very difficult for all of our drivers, and I think the low downforce nature of Mexico will really put a sting in the tail of that circuit. And I have to say that you'll have to tune in at a later date from that one. I have misplaced my schedule. So, Josh, if you have the schedule, could you say
I can very quickly find it. We are racing Saturday 24th of May in Mexico, and also Saturday the 7th of June, Watkins Glen, where we will be rounding out the championship. Champions will be crowned. And yeah, Watkins Glen, a very nice track to be rounding this one out as well.
Mexico and Watkins Glen, that sounds like a good round out. You have to understand, I have like 11 windows open at this point, and it's all a bit chaotic. But yeah, thank you ever so much, Josh, for saving the day on that one. Well, I have to say that it's just about time to end up the broadcast, but I want to do a massive shout out once again to the developers for making such great cars, and indeed for the next time out, great tracks for us to have amazing broadcasts and amazing racing, very close and sometimes chaotic, it must be said, racing. But yeah, if you want to check them out, the links are in the description below, both to all of the social media channels, all of the website pages, where you can get 50% off of that Mexico track that we will be racing next time out. And also a lot of deals very regularly on all of the cars and contents that they produce, and it's a very high quality. But yeah, Josh, any closing words to round out to what has been an amazing race?
Well, I think here tonight we've seen that mandatory pit stop rule coming into effect, caught a couple of drivers off guard. There was a lot of chaos as well with the lapped cars, but ultimately, once again, we have a new race winner, and consistency really showing its importance here tonight. Lucas propelled to second in the championship as a result. And yeah, an amazing drive by him, and he should be really proud of that one.
Yeah, for sure. I can echo that. It just displays that you can have the pace, but it doesn't always work out. And I think on one of the most complicated tracks in terms of driving, it has shown that with many drivers faltering either on their own or just getting caught out by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. For Buller, it will be once again a time where the victory slips away from his grasp. And for Lucas Mollman, it will be celebrations into the night here as the temperature continues to rise next time out in Mexico, as the elevation rises as well. The anticipation will rise until then. But for tonight, sadly, from the commentary box, it is time to end the show. Just want to do a massive shout out to Josh Richards for doing such an amazing job in the commentary box. I have been John Harris, your producer and host as well for this broadcast, and I just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure to commentate for you. I hope you've had an amazing time. I hope you've had a lot of laughs and gasps to all of the racing content. But until next time for the VRC ProtoH series, I have to say, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. See you all next time.
Under the lights, but I'm feeling alone. Lost in the crowd, yet your ghost calls me home. Echoes of laughter, memories stay, but in my heart the colors fade away. I still feel